And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Reefer Madness. How are you? It's about the loop, but I stopped it. You heard that there, Joshy.
So
How
that
are you,
was a
man?
good that was a good catch, Jay, bro. That was a good catch.
Wow, thank you. Wow, thank you. And I am going to try to figure out how to get that stream, view live stream. You might hear us repeating for 1 second, but that's it. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Now, I will pay my most attention to the show now because me trying to do these couple things at once just does not work all too well because my brain is kind of fantastical like that. It could focus on one thing or many things, or it could focus on nothing and be lost all unto its own.
You're a true
Um,
treasure.
Thank you, sir. I try.
Absolutely.
Josh, I sent you the YouTube link. If you want to go on and share, I'm going to try and put this on Reefer Madness Live. Sorry, people, working out the kinks, but actually, Josh, I'm putting it on Reefer Madness Live and then share that one.
Okay.
All right. Right? Instead of sharing just that.
Yeah.
And all righty then. How is everybody's Thursday? Mine is absolutely fantastical. As you guys can see here, I just got a tattoo done and I am raw and in pain. So it feels like I don't know, whatever something raw feels like. It feels like a penis without a condom banging a vagina. Actually, no, that feels good. So it doesn't feel like that.
Jeez, OP.
Anyway, did you all hear that the queen has been resurrected?
Do what?
Yeah, Josh is too busy paying attention to what he's doing, so he missed that. The
No,
queen
I
was resurrected.
ri, ri, yeah, I feel you. So
Nice
how long
earring, by
that
the way.
take?
I didn't even know you had that pierced. Anything else pierced?
Nothing I can show on live. No, I'm just playing.
What about your
But no,
OnlyFans account?
I'm working on it. They told me the only problem with that is that people don't want to watch it.
Right,
So
right.
I really have to struggle with trying to overcome that obstacle, being ugly and all that. So it's like,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
this is where he wants us to tell him, no, you're not ugly.
No, that's okay. I know what the truth is.
No, Josh, you're handsome.
You ain't got a lot of these folks like that. They
You
already
ain't
know,
got
John.
a
They can
lot.
see him.
No, I'm just kidding. You are handsome. But
Oh, thank you.
and don't mind my video, folks. It's like I gotta really adjust settings, the color, like so it'll be changing and I'll be looking white or orange, and I just really don't care to be fucking with these settings while I'm talking and on the show, mate. That's
All
why
right.
yeah,
All
right. I
right.
need my producer here so I don't have to fucking worry about this. And then I could just be the own personality that I am. The on air personality. So
Yes,
Josh, where were you
sir.
born?
I was born in Albany, Georgia, man.
Ah,
It was a dark, stormy night, and I was the only ray of hope that hospital had, and there it was, you know, to brighten up
and
everyone's life, just like that.
wow.
Yeah,
All of a
man. What
sudden, the
about you?
world was dark, and then boom, it was light.
Sent as God intended. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What
To
were you gonna say? Where
save
was
the
I
world.
born? I was born on planet Inu.
Planet Eno. I heard about that. They're supposed to be making a pass by here not too long from now. You gonna hop on the mothership and get out of here, or you still gonna stick around?
Yeah. I'm not hopping on the mothership. They don't allow me there anymore. They restricted my
What's the
ticket.
what do you mean?
Something about I started my own race. I was impregnating so many different species that I started
That's the reason why we are the way we are right
yep.
now.
Yepper.
I respect that. I appreciate the effort you put in for that. I really do.
Has football started?
It has. I've had a few gentlemen at work talk to me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
very some very speaking of sports though, I had one gentleman tell me about how all sports are fine except for two because they're communist sports.
and
I
they
want you to
are?
try to guess. I want you to try to guess which sports are the communist sports.
Chess for sure.
You would think, but nope, not at all.
Well, communist sports, so it can't be like anything American like baseball or football because
Correct. So you are right. So those two are off the list,
yeah.
100%.
Is it
Hmm.
soccer or
Ding, ding,
football?
ding.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. That was one of them that he said was communist. He said for that one, they they pretend to be hurt so they can get what they want, get free stuff, free passes and stuff like that. Is the reason
Wait,
why
they pretend to what? Be
they
hurt?
pretend to be hurt. So that way they can get like free passes and like
Oh,
fouls and stuff like that. Hence the communist relation
got
to
you. So the
he
players
was
themselves pretend to be injured.
exactly. My guy was very passionate about this too. I kept asking questions because I thought it was funny, but why he was getting into it, man, it's crazy.
And
Now see,
the second sport is what?
so the second sport I'll give to you, it's hockey.
Really?
Yeah,
Is that and I
because
thought that was American. Is that Canadian?
I think so. I think it was more Canadian based, but essentially his reasoning for that is that with hockey, the goal is to injure the best player on the other team,
Okay.
so that way your team can succeed, not to be better or to compete in like you know be the better sportsman or better at the sport, just to gang up on the other team's best player and injure them so they can't play.
Is that really I mean, is that what they do? And I'm not really a big hockey fan. Like I've been to a couple games and shit like that, but I mean as far as really watching it and like, going over the rules and shit, I'm not too up on it.
Yeah, I've seen like maybe 3 hockey games in my life, and that was never the goal.
Yeah,
But
right.
he swore up and down that was the main thing for this, was that they were just trying to injure the other team, the best player on the other team, just so they can,
It is
win the
cool
game.
that that's the only sport that's not a combat sport that has like sanctioned fighting in it. It's like you're allowed to fight and nobody breaks it up as long as it's not getting too crazy.
I mean, if anything, it just sounds strategic. Like got to make sure you don't play too well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's just like in what other sport can you just throw off your gloves or fucking take off your helmet and just start throwing out, throwing down?
Dude, listen, if we could do that with our profession, son, it'd be a better
In
job.
in basketball, you would be completely thrown out of the sport.
In basketball, you would never see the inside of a court again,
Yeah.
unless it was a trial.
I mean, I don't know if you know, you're a little young. That guy Ron Artest is like Meta World Peace or some shit when he got into a fight with the fan years ago. Do you remember this?
No, I do not.
Oh
That's
my god.
interesting.
So like they just put out like the full version of it, but like I don't even remember what team. This is how fucking dumb I think most sports are. But one team was losing, I think, and then this fan went and threw like something at a player, and the player then went after the fan, and then like the players like got into the fights with the fans. But all you saw back in the day was the players going after the fans, and you were told basically like they just got mad for no reason, started fighting, and they got like suspended for fucking years and all this shit. And then it comes to find out, they were really just defending themselves, and they got in trouble for it. But if you get into a fight in basketball, not even with a fan, but just with like another player, you're suspended for fucking games. Meanwhile, if you do it in hockey, you're like encouraged to, and you get a bonus and shit.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a different environment, that's for sure. I don't see how that's communist though. I don't see how that reflects communism. You know what I mean? I don't know a whole lot about communism except for like the whole getting free stuff type thing.
Yeah.
Um, but outside of that, I don't see how beating the dog crap out of your opponent's best player reflects the Communist Party. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I guess because in the Communist Party, there is no like best. Like every doctor is the same fucking doctor. You know, everybody's like all the same. They get paid the same. Their workload is the same.
Right. No, for sure.
But yeah, I don't see how it's communist. I mean, it's not like the hockey league is run by some dictator that's not been voted in, and
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know how you
when I asked
refer to
this,
sports as a government. I don't.
You're right. When I was asked this man like about sports, I was just trying to make conversation. And somehow when it came to hockey and soccer, and yeah, he kind of talked like this right here. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
And he's very passionate about it. And he's like, listen here, let me tell you something. He's like, it's one of those things where it's like you didn't think about it before, but once you hear, you're like, man, he's on to something. And I'm like,
yeah. That's when you bring up a subject and you start to hear the answer, and then you just, oh well. Anyway, back to whatever, because
yeah,
you
right, right,
realize you're
right.
gonna
That
go
was the
off on a
man.
fucking tangent about Betty White blowing an alien or some shit.
See, I could have done that, but I was having so much fun with this guy, and he was telling me all the details of why he thought the way he did. So I just kept asking questions. I was like,
Yeah.
when did you discover this? He's like, oh man, I got to think about it, spent here, blah 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 blah.
Did he write a book?
Bro, you would think he went like into the mountains to meditate and train on it. He's very serious.
Wow.
You know what I
But
mean?
I admire people's conviction to have that much belief in something that is made
I w-
up.
yeah, no, no, I definitely wasn't mad at that. You know, the level of conviction and passion and gusto he provided to the story, it definitely was entertaining. I can't subscribe to that way of thinking, but at the same time, it was hilarious
Nice. Who
because he was just so passionate.
yeah, I love passion. Who did your haircut?
Some dude near the town I live, his name is like
Supercuts?
it's like Cuts by Chuck, something like that.
Cuts by
Yeah,
Chuck.
for
It looks good
real.
though. Is
Thanks,
this like
man.
the same style you usually do?
No, this is actually brand new. Got the fade action on the side. But this is going to be a style that I pretty much stick to because it looks nice.
Yeah,
You
it
know what
looks
I
good.
mean?
What does your girl think?
I don't think she's seen it yet.
Ah.
We actually haven't seen each other in a couple of days, so I don't think she's had the chance to see it.
Oh, I thought you lived together.
No, not right at the moment. Not
Good.
right at
Don't
the
move
moment.
in, bro. Do not do it.
It's personal experience kicking in.
No. Well, try before you buy. I do say that. Sure, certainly live with the woman before you marry her. You gotta
You,
see how that works.
you ever been married?
Yeah. Do you
Oh,
see
it's
that?
tatted.
Yeah, I got branded.
Yeah.
I'm on my fourth marriage now.
You
So I
lie.
just
There's
keep
no way.
adding a Roman numeral every time I get married. Eventually it'll be my whole hand.
Just be tatted in Roman.
Yeah, I'm trying to impregnate a girl from every continent.
How many you got down so far?
Well, out of the 30 continents, gee, I don't know. No, let's think actually. Certainly North and South America, certainly Europe, certainly China. Is Australia a continent? I believe I
Gotta
banged the
be right.
Aussie, mate. Hello, mate. Let's put
I got
another
you from.
shrimp on the barbie.
I
But
got you
yeah,
a little bit from down under.
yeah, I want to impregnate somebody from every continent and then abort it. So for everybody out there, I'm Roe
So
v.
that's
Wade.
listen. That's even more of a challenge because the law is different depending on the
Right.
continent that you're on.
Hey, you could fall and land on a hanger in any continent.
He says sometimes it's by a doctor, sometimes you got to roll up your sleeves.
You know, honey, meet me at the top of
Incredible.
the stairs. I got to talk to you. Boom, 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 boom.
Honey, my speed bad broke. I need to
No, but
practice.
I think I mean I got to follow this like better. But after the Roe v. Wade went away, I think there's like 20 states that have really made abortion like illegal.
Yeah, they're really pushing to like take it away. But the thing for me is, me personally, the way I stand, never agreed with it. I just agree with people's choices, like
Right.
the ability to choose, because everybody should have free will. And when you have freedoms, double-edged sword, stuff like that, right?
Right.
But at the same time, my biggest issue with it is that a lot of these laws are trying to limit or remove contraceptives in general. So like in certain situations, like I think in Alabama, it's almost illegal to use certain contraceptives like a Plan B pill, things like that. But it's like
Right.
if you're gonna take away the ability to abort the baby, then you can't take away the ability to prevent the pregnancy. You know what I mean? You're
Well,
just making it impossible.
but contraceptive is different than like Plan B is like after, right? It's not like
So I would consider it to be contraceptive only because that's before it
before
gets a
what? It's
heartbeat.
when the sperm fertilizes the
Before
egg.
Well, before it has a heart, like a heartbeat, and actually starts to develop into you know what
So
I mean?
before it implants or anything,
Yeah, before it like really stops being a sperm cell and starts to.
well, it stopped. I mean, this is you could do it what up to 48 hours, I think.
Yeah, I
I
believe
mean,
so.
48 hours, that's a fully viable whatever, it's fetus or something. It's fully what is
No,
it?
I thought at that stage it was just a little cell in an egg, like it's like a little shell, little cell in a shell.
But I mean, it's the point of like conception or what? I mean, like isn't it like as soon as the sperm fertilizes the egg, it's life. I mean, in most religious people's eyes.
I mean, I guess religiously, but and don't get me wrong, like I would consider myself to be somewhat religious in that
Right.
regard, but scientifically speaking, in my opinion, and it's not very long after that a woman gets pregnant that it doesn't have a heartbeat. Like that heartbeat
It's pretty
develops
quick.
pretty quickly, but it's not within like the first 24 hours or so.
Right.
You know what I mean? And up until that point, I really wouldn't consider it to be like a human life. I mean, it's definitely alive, but sperm cells are alive too. Like every cell in your body is alive.
Yeah, like it, the way I chalk it up is to if you could and again, this is a little far because it's not the case, but if you could live on your own outside, like if you're on a feeding tube and a breathing tube as an old person, they should be able to pull that and that's not considered murder. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not alive.
I mean, I can see that perspective. I think, like, for me, it's like if they have to take chunks of that kid out, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if it's early enough along and a woman has like a miscarriage, the body will process that naturally. But if you have to go in and surgically remove the kid
Yeah.
because it's developed enough to where it's like it's physically in there and enough of a mass for you to actually see it form, like
Right.
to me, it's like to me in that stage is, in my opinion, is pretty much you killed that kid. Now,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
mean, like, and you can chalk it up to what you want to chalk it up to, but the truth is, it had a hand, it had, a little head, stuff like that. It's
Right.
you definitely that was a life, no doubt.
100%. I mean, like you said, if it's not within the fucking before like the heartbeat, you start getting into dicey territory because, at what point, you know, is it the fully formed person?
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of people, like even a lot of people in my church would disagree with me that I get the point of conception. It's a human life. But at the same time, I just feel like personally, like knowing the facts of it, it's literally just a sperm cell up until a certain point. It's just
Right.
in an egg. It's not until like a few days later that it starts to develop those things. And I don't see anything wrong with the Plan B pill, personally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I don't see anything wrong with the Plan B pill. Um, and again, with abortion, of course I find it abhorrent and horrible. But if you're going to have a kid and not take care of it and treat it like shit, and this is an option, it's a better option. And then you could say,
Sure.
oh well, why can't you have it and let somebody else adopt it? Well, unfortunately, this isn't a fairy tale world where everything works perfectly because there's a lot of kids that are in the system that are living absolutely horrible existence and maybe would have been better, you know, not here because there's people in foster care and kids in foster care where they're abused physically, sexually, whatever. And, you're supposed to go through that because, your parent was a fucking idiot and didn't use, you know, protection.
Yeah, and that does suck. But I think at the same time too, like at least in that regard, the kid has a chance to eventually go on and move on to a good life. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, you know, find some purpose, do good things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Find God, stuff like that. But at the same, like if you take it completely away from them, you know for a fact that they're never going to have that chance at life. Sometimes that can be good depending on the circumstances, but I don't think that's for us to decide past a certain point. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Again, that's all nice and dandy, but you still don't have a system that's able to take care of the kids we already have. If you then add on to it 300 times the amount of unwanted kids because now you can't have an abortion, that's a serious, serious problem.
It is. Well, that's why I think the push for contraceptives shouldn't be to like remove them or anything like that either. Plus, there's a lot of medical needs for abortions too. Like if it's between the woman dying and that baby, living, Take the kid out because you can always have another kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That woman has lived a full life. She has a family. She has people that care about her, stuff like that. Like it shouldn't come at the expense of someone who has an already established life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but now you start getting into where you're, you have to take it what, case by case? It should be a rule. Up to the first trimester, you could get an abortion. After that, you're beat.
Yeah, I think we overcomplicate things too though. Because in New York, I think it was either New York or another state. It was one of the northern states though. They wanted to make they were talking about post post birth abortions is what they were talking about. And that's just flat out killing a kid.
Yeah, that's murder. Post
That's
birth
just murder.
abortion. I
Post
mean, I
birth
could
abortions.
go post birth abort anybody right now.
Yeah, everybody alive can technically like
Yeah.
literally
Oh
right
no, I
now.
didn't murder him. I just post birth aborted him.
There's a lot of gray areas once you start bringing that into it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he was only 336 months old.
Speaking of that, a little kind of a gloomy term, but what do you think about like legally assisted suicide?
I think it's a good thing. Listen, if you are in so much pain and that you don't want to be here, by all means.
Yeah,
Um, if you're by all accounts so severely depressed and you've gone through, um, you know, therapy and stuff like that, see ya. Wouldn't want to be here. If you don't want to live here, who the fuck am I to tell you no? You have to be here.
I can see that for
What's your
sure.
point?
It's hard to say. I think sometimes as far as like medically speaking, if someone like you said is in pain and they're sick and they're hurt and they don't want to have to suffer through it to the point of death, they just want to go ahead and you know what I'm saying? Then at that point, I feel like yeah, it should be 100% legal. Now, for someone who's like super mega depressed, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, if they went through like you said, proper therapy, maybe, but it's still like, what if someone's just in a mentally poor spot and they just know that that's an option, so they just take it because they know it's there. I mean,
But
at the
it
same
is an
time,
option at all times. So it's not
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
if
of
you have
course,
a medically assisted version of it, like that
yeah, you
more
could just
people are
off
going to be like,
yourself.
oh, let me hop on that because it's medically assisted. Like,
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I feel like if we start to normalize it, there's going to be more people that might be more inclined to it. You
are
know what I'm
there
saying?
countries that do that?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Euthanasia? Well, I mean, the term euthanasia came from like killing somebody, young.
So you'd be all for Dr. Kevorkian?
Absolutely. 100%. Like
All right.
if I'm 75 and I'm fucking, have a colostomy bag and I need somebody to feed me, I'm a burden. I don't want to
So it looks like it's legal in parts of the United States,
really.
parts of Australia. It looks like in Austria, Belgium, Canada, Germany, Luxembourg, which I didn't know was a country into itself, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Spain, Switzerland.
I know we could take off life support and shit here. I didn't think we could actually assist with because that was the whole Dr. Kevorkian. He got in trouble for doing that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that probably sparked a conversation. You know what I mean? Later on, it ended
Right.
up happening because of that. I know there was one guy that was actually designing a roller coaster that reached speeds that would cause you to have this euphoric feeling. It would kill you, but it would be absolute euphoria up until the point that you died.
Yeah, so your body just released a shit ton of DMT right before you die.
Mm-hmm. It's called the suicide coaster.
Sign me up.
Bruh, I mean, out of all the ways to go, and this thing is
All right,
crazy.
so how would you go if you were going to do it?
Suicide
Not
coaster,
medically.
man.
What is it?
This suicide coaster.
But
Like if I came to a point where it's like, yo, I'm not gonna like if they came to me, they're like, hey, you got 3 days to live. Shoot, fly me out to the suicide coaster, man. I'd
all
take
right.
it. Or I'd skydive without parachute.
Yeah, okay. You'd be shitting your pants the whole way down.
I mean, the whole point is no consequences after this.
Would you skydive or would you go up to the top of a building and jump off?
I wouldn't want to do that because you're gonna ruin someone's like rest of their life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You said you
so
wouldn't want to do that?
yeah, because like I'm gonna be gone, but at the same time, whoever sees me splat on the sidewalk is gonna be traumatized for the rest of their
And
existence.
you
You know
don't
what I'm
want
saying?
that.
Nah,
No.
no set. My goal,
Listen, if
like,
I'm miserable and I'm killing myself, I want everybody involved
yeah,
the same way.
I want you to be just as miserable. I want to see you up there in a couple minutes.
Yeah, like I'm going to a preschool and slicing my wrists in front of the little kids.
Now you're really gonna
This
go
is
out with
what
a bang.
happens when you don't have God. Oh,
With your haircut, man, especially.
you
That's gonna
know,
be wild.
Jesus.
Exactly. They're
Jesus
gonna be like,
loves
why did
you.
Jesus? They're gonna be like, why did Jesus kill himself in front of all these children?
My name is Lucifer.
Would you ever name your kid Lucifer?
I mean, you can't say Lucifer's a bad name, right? I mean, God gave that to him.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'd never name my kid shit stain either.
I don't know if I'd ever name my
God
kid
gave us
Lucifer.
that term as well. You're
I
just
mean,
asking for something. It's like if you're naming your kid Lucifer, Damien, fucking Satan, like you're just asking for shit.
I know a friend that named her son Damien. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh bad, triple sixes for life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just
See,
ruined that kid.
yeah. And then it's weird because I happen to know a Damien and he's like the furthest thing from a devil. And it seems like his parents would be the furthest thing from using a term like that. So maybe it's also got some other. I know Lucifer is definitely straight up reference to the devil.
I don't think that anybody else has ever had that name, and it
Yeah.
not be some kind of. What does the name Damien even mean?
I don't know, man. Damien. But yeah, he's actually a stand-up comedian now. We went to high school together.
Dude,
He
lit.
he should be coming on the show soon. I actually he's coming on my other show soon, but I should see if him and his boy want to come in and call in on this show and
Dude, that
add
would be
some
cool.
flavor. Actually,
That
I
would be
should
cool,
call
man.
this guy. I have a guy who wants to come on my podcast and tell not this show, my other show, and tell us about a 9/11 story. Um
Oh, that would be cool.
I should
We're
see
really
if
going full throttle into potentially getting banned here.
I could see if let me see if I could get him.
So it means to tame or subdue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would totally name my kid that.
Oh,
I'm
for
gonna
sure. I
tame
think
and
Damon's a good
subdue.
name. It just part of that bad movie.
Well, Damon is different, dude. It's
Yeah.
Damien. That like Matt Damon is different than Damien.
Yeah,
Damien.
and I know.
Well, which one were you
But
just giving me the definition on?
Damien.
Ah, okay. Drugs are bad. Okay.
Okay.
What did I say I was going to do? Oh, see if I can get that dude on
You
here.
can call the one guy. 9/11 story.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Were you really trying to risk it for the biscuit on this one, my guy?
Nah, this is a story about I believe how his brother died in 9/11.
Oh, okay. So not like a conspiracy story, like a real life account.
You're right.
Thought you was going full conspiracy there, but I'm all for it, man. I'm ready to risk it.
Yeah, I'm getting one of the I'm calling back one of the dead from 9/11 so they could tell us what happened.
Just whip out a Ouija board. Wouldn't it be crazy if they had an electronic Ouija board that links together and we could like use it together?
That would be weird.
That would be
But instead of
hilarious.
using our hands, we use the tip of our dicks and docked. I mean,
Dogs.
dock man.
How did you pull? I totally forgot about dogging. That was like episode one.
Yeah, that was ages ago. That'll be funny if this is years from now. We're like, remember when we talked about docking?
You
Oh,
ever
that
had any
was like
spooky
episode
encounters?
3.
Like
Spooky
unexplained
encounter?
things? Yeah, something
Yes,
unexplained.
yes, a couple.
Dude, share, man.
All right. So the earliest memory is like I was young because I was in diapers. I'll have
Mhm.
to keep looking through because I don't know where to. But I was in my mother's bedroom and I was watching TV. Of course, don't remember, but she had a mannequin head. She used to. She went to school to like learn how to cut hair. So it was like one of
Oh,
those
okay.
fake heads with hair and you cut it and shit.
You're so
And it
creepy
was
though.
oh yeah, they're just weird.
It's just
Um,
creepy.
it was like on a thing, like standing up, and it rolled off on its own and stood right up on its neck, and it said, "Look at me." And like to this day, I still see it and
You're
remember.
you're lying for
I swear to
real?
God.
Like
I
no
still see
dream?
it and remember it clear as day. And I came running out of the room, like booking. My mom said I was like white as ghost, like I looked scared. And she said, like I told her the story. But
J-Ro,
that
that
was,
is insane. How did you not like how did you go on about life after that, man? That would have
yeah, I mean, that might have been one of the things that like made me just kind of not pay much mind to things and just kind of go about it. Cause, you know, I don't really remember what I thought about it afterwards. I mean, it was definitely, I was bugged out for a minute, but I don't remember like days later how I felt.
that's
Um,
crazy. You know what's interesting though? I wonder if like so not to cut you off there, but I saw this TikTok
no,
once of this
please do. I
guy.
talk too much.
Oh, dude, absolutely. No, I was just playing. But I saw this TikTok of this guy. He was essentially breaking down like, you know how a lot of people have like a fear or like they're creeped out by the sense of just seeing something that looks human like dolls and stuff like that. Um,
Sure.
essentially, essentially what he was saying was is like because all of us have this innate reaction. Thank you for that.
Hmm.
Because all of us have this innate reaction to that, that it means that somewhere along the line, it was genetically embedded in us. It means we evolved with that instinct. So that means that somewhere along the line, years ago, there
Yeah.
was something that was human like, but was not human that we feared, that creeped us out, that we tried to stay away from because we
Yeah.
instinctually get creeped out by those things.
Yeah. I've heard
So,
of that too. Do you believe in those old, like, hunter gatherer instinctual things that humans supposedly bear?
I mean, to a certain degree, it's got to be true, right? Because I mean, animals pass down things instinctually. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
but we all came from Adam and Eve. So,
yeah, but we do have, I mean, true, but we have certain relations to other animals. I mean, we can't be so far different that, because if we were, we just wouldn't be able to coexist. You know what I mean?
and how, after Adam and Eve had children, did those children grow up to fuck each other and not make retards?
So there's a couple of like different theories about that because it talks about how, because when one of the brothers killed the other brother, he got
Saul,
cast out.
Cain,
Yeah,
Abel.
yeah, something like that. But he essentially got cast out, and he went in. It says that he went into the land and he found himself a wife. So it makes you wonder, like, it does say that they were the first, but it makes you wonder, like, was it incest or was it just that God went and created more people in other areas?
Mm.
A lot of people also say too that there's these removed books of the Bible that were removed by the Catholic Church that
The
talk
Dead
about.
Sea Scrolls.
No, the Dead Sea Scrolls are supposed to be um what the
Those are
Bible's
part of it.
based
They're
off
like
of.
no, they're like gospels that the Bible left out, like
Well,
the Mary
The Dead Sea
Magdalene, I
Scrolls
thought.
in general are just essentially the Bible is just translated from the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah, but
So
there's
and
parts of it like that they left out. The
yeah,
church.
like books of the Bible where they kind of like removed it and it talks about Lilith in there. And it said Lilith wouldn't get with the program essentially. She wouldn't be submissive to Adam, so she like kind of went out into the world to do her own thing. And a lot of people say that's where
That
essentially
was
the
Eve's
other
sister.
no, she was made before Eve. Um and I guess I think in that version of the
Wait,
Bible, she was
what?
also made from the dust of the earth,
Oh,
not
you're
from the rib.
saying in the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is what they said.
It's supposed to be in these removed books, but yes, essentially.
Mm,
In these removed scriptures. So
yeah.
she was like, I don't want you to be on top. I want to be on top. I'm not going
Hey
to get with the
now.
program. Just be submissive to you. She wasn't made like Eve was made. So Eve was made from the rib. She was supposed to be made out of the dust of the earth like Adam. So she saw herself to be equal versus being, subjected to Adam. And she went out into the world. And that's where a lot of people believe that some of these other kids came from. That Cain went out into the world and had babies with these other babies. But that would essentially still make it
Other
incest. You know what
babies.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just make it less incest because it's only like a half sibling, you know?
Well, incest is best if you can't keep it in the pants, keep it in the family. These are just things that I've heard.
Your alma mater. Your alma mater. I
Yes,
can't say the
sir.
word now. But
Your
yeah, I imagine.
alma mater, or yeah, whatever. I think I know what you're saying. Alma mater, Elma.
I'm gonna Google
Um,
it later.
I'm
I
gonna
don't even know how
Google
to
it.
spell it.
Google, Google.
I don't
Yeah,
even know how to
alma
spell it.
mater. Hello, alma mater. That's gonna be my daughter's name, Alma Mater Rotolo.
Well, also the Dead Sea in
She's
these
hot.
removed. You said she's a hoe. Is that what you said?
Hot.
Oh, I'm gonna move on. But
Please do.
um, do you think that it's like? Do you think there's something to the church removing books of the Bible? Like, do you think these are?
Oh, for sure. Whatever's not in the church's narrative. Hasta la vista, baby. See, you wouldn't want to be ya.
Well, what do you think about the Catholic Church, like as a whole?
I think organized religion, period, end of story, was started because there was no laws and everybody was running rampant and raping and killing and fucking pillaging and all that stuff. And they had to invent these spooky stories about afterlife and hell to really control the population. Do I believe in God and Jesus Christ? 100%. Do I know if there's a Holy Spirit? I have no idea. I don't think that really matters, to be honest. But I believe Jesus was the Son of God. I believe that you could have places of worship and go to, but I don't think it's you can't eat meat on Friday and you need to donate 30% to your church and all that shit. I think that's man made.
Yeah, I can say where it could be. I could definitely see. I don't agree with organized religion either, personally. Um, I wouldn't even say that I actually agree with religion. I mean, if you believe God's real, then God's just real.
Right.
You know, religion itself is a structure that we kind of make on our own.
Yeah. I mean, if you're atheists and the humans are it, woof, that's scary.
Yeah, right, exactly. And you know, that being said, I mean, I think there's some things we're just not going to know for sure until we get up there ourselves. You know what I mean? And when that happens, it happens. But right now, I think we overcomplicate things to a degree where it's like we make ourselves almost fight each other and be divided on things where it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. I think all war was started in the name of God, right?
Not
Mostly,
all,
at least the first.
not all. Maybe early stages. But
Well,
I mean, the Catholic Church and the Crusades, as an example,
what
I
was
think.
Afghanistan and fucking the U.S.? That was fucking Muslims versus Catholics.
I thought that was for oil.
Yeah, based
America's
on
just like God
fucking
wants us to have that oil, rather.
100%. They religion. I mean, war has been fought for the name of love and freedom and God and all good things, and it's just you know produces bad shit.
Actually, war is one of the biggest money makers in the United States history.
It used to be good for our economy when you fought a war that made sense, but Iraq and Afghanistan proved differently.
Yeah, well, we kind of
Like
gave
World
them
War
half the
II
stuff that
was
we.
huge because we went from like people who made some stuff to like the manufacturing giant, and that really boosted our economy because we were supplying and manufacturing everything. And then after that we had the plants to fucking make everything on a mass scale, and we were like China at that point.
Listen, man, I want to hear this other spooky story. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm
Oh
so
yeah.
curious about that.
So this one, I'm older, and my parents used to be strict to where I had to go to bed with like TV off at like 8 o'clock. And one night Rambo was on. I'm like 9 or 10, and they let me stay up later to watch it. And I'm like sitting in my bed, and it's dark, just the TV on, and I could see out of my bedroom, and it looked into the kitchen. And as I'm watching TV, I'm looking straight on, and then at the corner of my eye, I see this white figure just passing by me. And then so then I really start to look at it, and it's a lady, and she just walks. She's walking to my sink, and then gets to the sink and just goes through the wall and gone. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, mom, mom. So then, I run out to the living room again. She's there, fucking tell her what happened. And, she didn't hear anything, see anything. Nobody was there. But that was another one where it's very vivid and I know what I saw.
That's crazy, man. Like, what did this lady look like? Do you remember any features about her? Like, she was
Yeah,
just
it
dressed
looked
in white.
it was like what you would picture like a ghost looking like. It was like white, glowy. You know what I'm saying? Like it had a soft glow around the whole thing, and it was like everything was white. It looked like a person, but like a cartoon colored white. You know what I'm saying? Like everything was white.
Did you ever get like a look at her eyes or facial features or anything like that?
Nah, she like it almost seemed like she was in a wedding dress because like that's how the dress was kind of, and didn't look at me, just walked by me relatively slow. Um, but it was nighttime. I was younger. I wasn't like fucking asking her eye color and shit to
Yeah,
where
right. Yo,
you know
lady, what you doing?
yeah,
Were
like
you?
at first it just threw. I'm like, mom, and then once it vanished into the wall, through the sink, I'm like, what the fuck? And realized that it wasn't my mother.
God, that's so wild. Those are two very vivid experiences. Like you can't chalk it up to anything else.
Right. And
Like
it
it
wasn't like
just
I
is
was
what it
doing
is.
drugs at the time.
Well, I mean, I didn't expect in the first one that you were because you know how young you were, and you never know. But that is absolutely insane, man. That is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that was freaky. I remember being like scared after that, you know?
Did you try to look into it? Like, is this the same house or
Oh God, no, this is an old house. Yeah, like well, I never dwell on like things. You know what I'm saying? So even if something big like that happens or anything happens, it's a thing for a second and then I move on. You know what I'm saying?
Ghost Lady was like, I'm gonna walk out here. They'll be like, no, no, don't do it. No, he gonna be cool with it. He gonna be all right.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, it's kind of how my brain works, you
It's
know?
just insane because, like, to me, like, I've had a couple of things happen that were kind of spooky, unexplainable type situations, but like
Besides looking in
nothing.
the mirror, what are you talking about?
Well, so besides the mirror thing, which the mirror thing gets me every day, but I've learned to just kind of do what you do and chalk it up, be done with it.
Yeah.
But for me, a lot of stuff like seeing shadows, like in the shape of people, like move out of the corner of my eye, like seeing like the shape and the outline moving out the corner of my eye. Me and my cousin Gwendolyn were standing in my kitchen one night and we were just talking, having a conversation, and all of a sudden we heard a whisper, me and her both, we heard a whisper go, Gwendolyn. And I was like, you gotta leave. It's not
Wouldn't they
here for
call
me,
that
it's here for you.
poltergeist?
Yeah, I mean they got different names for them. You know what I
But
mean?
like it's where you don't see anything, it's like a feeling or a hearing.
I guess. I was just glad that she heard it too, because that meant that I wasn't going crazy or schizophrenic. You know what I mean?
I would prefer than to actually have beings haunting me.
Yeah. Um, I could definitely see a point on that. Don't really have an argument to counter it, you know. But outside of that, I did have what I believed to be a demon visit me in a dream once. Um,
You
Only
sure that
because of
wasn't a
how
nightmare?
it could have been. I mean, it really just depends on how you want to like chalk it up. My logical mind wants to say that it was just a nightmare. It's just I don't know how to explain it. It's just the way it talked. You know what I'm saying? Like its voice it sounded like a level of authority. Is the only way I can really explain it. It wasn't like this deep, menacing thing like you see off of TV, but it's like his words actually had physical power to them. And I don't really know how to explain it. Like you could just say, okay, well,
Hmm.
you just dreamed that, but
Well, yeah, the
it
fact that you're
was
chalking it up to something different makes me think that the experience was different than a dream because
yeah, because I've had nightmares of demons and stuff like that before, but this one, the way he spoke to me was like, because essentially what he told me was he never said that God wasn't real. He just told me that there was no hope, there is no salvation. He said the only thing that awaits you, that awaits the world, is destruction. And then all of a sudden I started seeing these
awaits
images
you
of
as
like
destruction.
he said all that awaits you in the world is destruction.
Whoa.
And then like I saw this thing where it was like these mountains that were just, and it was very vivid, like it looked like real mountains, like caught in 4K, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
real mountains. And there was a black hole that opened above them, and the mountains themselves were just ripped from the ground and they were being pulled into this black hole, and the sky was red, the sea was red.
Damn, dude.
And yeah, and he's telling me this, and it's this ominous feeling, but I can't say anything or speak anything back. And then right before I wake up, he goes, and my name is, and then I wake up. He told me the name and I like repeated it in my head, because when I woke up, it wasn't like when you just normally wake up for a dream. He told me his name, and then all of a sudden, all I see is black, and then I just slowly wake up out
What
of
was
it.
his name?
So I couldn't
Did you
remember
like?
until I couldn't remember until later on, and then I heard it in a special about UFOs, and I remembered the name that he told me. Because
What?
as soon as I woke up, I was repeating it in my head, and as soon as I woke up, I forgot it. And later on, I was watching this UFO special, and it was just about like real life encounters, potential encounters for UFOs, and it brought up the Book of Mormon. And
Yeah.
there's and the angel that presented itself before John, what's his face, his name was Moroni, and that was the name that he gave me before I woke up. He said, "My name is Moroni."
Moroni?
Mm-hmm. That was the name.
Wow. And
And yeah, man, that freaked me out. I thought about that a lot after
yeah, I mean that is
that.
freaky as fuck. But and then when you heard that name again, that must have been really fucking freaky.
Oh, dude, all of it, all of the
And on
memories
the
of the dream
alien
and everything.
documentary.
Yeah, and all of the memories of the dream just came flooding back to me like immediately after hearing it. And I was like, "Wow, that's crazy." And I knew that was the exact name that he had given me. You know what I mean? It's like when you come to that realization moment.
Have you looked up that name to see if it's been used in history or anything?
Yeah, that was the supposed being of light that presented itself before John what's his face. It took him to the tablets, the golden tablets, and
Right, the
translated the Book
Mormon,
of Mormon.
but um but that's the first time that name is used. It's just there.
I couldn't find anything with that name being used in any other parts of history, just
Wow,
that
that's
one.
weird.
Hmm.
Um, have you looked into the religion of Mormon or fucking Jesus of Latter Day Saints?
I have. They're kind of funky, in my opinion. No offense to anybody that subscribes
Because
to that,
if
but it's just
the fucking guy who gave John the golden fucking tablets spoke to me, I'd probably be checking it out.
well, it's just like when it was speaking to me, I knew it was a demon. And the Bible talks about demons being able to present themselves as creatures of light. And in there, literally they refer to it as a creature of light that presented itself before John. And he went and found these tablets, right? And this was a documentary for UFOs for aliens. And my great grandpa, he was a preacher, a pastor, and he firmly believed that that UFOs and aliens were these demons and fallen angels. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I
it it
mean
it
that
kind of
makes all
connected a
sense
few
to me.
dots, but it kind of connected a few dots, but I didn't want to look too much into it. Didn't exactly want to have him revisit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like if I were you, I'd be totally checking into that stuff. Like you're asking me like what I thought about the fucking ghosts I saw. Like if I were you, I'd
Yeah,
be all over that.
yeah, for sure. I mean, well, here's the thing, though, right? If it was a demon, it could just lied to me and told me that name. Doesn't necessarily mean that was its name. You know,
Yeah.
could just said that that was its name, so that way it'd freak me out. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see the significance.
And make
Like
you
why?
like lose your faith in your real religion and make you become a Mormon.
Maybe like direct me towards that path. But I think the whole point of it was to cause doubt and fear, like in in me and myself and my soul. And I just decided that I wasn't gonna be afraid, and I was just gonna count on God and keep my faith the way that it was. You
If
know,
I
if
were to
anything,
fucking do that to you, I'd come to you and be like, "Listen, you little fucker, there's no God. The devil's real and you're going to go to hell. You better
yeah,
believe me."
yeah, no.
I'd shake you to your core.
In my encounters that with the dreams, it always felt like like there was like a demonic presence in it. They never deny God, not a single time in my
Right.
encounters with them. No.
I used to have this one. It's so weird. I just thought of this actually. I used to have this one recurring nightmare as a kid, and it happened through a period of my life, like for like a year straight. And it was this house that was behind my house. So it was on the block, the next block that ran parallel with mine. So like I could hop the fence and go to that block and be on the other street. And there was this house across the street from that block that Jehovah's Witnesses lived in. And for some reason, I started having a nightmare every night. I used to get scared to go to sleep because I would have this dream
Dang.
where um I go into the house, I go by the house, but the whole thing is fucking completely haunted with fucking demons and ghosts and fucking it was like crazy. And I was so scared of it. Like during the dream or nightmare, I would be so fucking scared. And then I would the next night be scared to go to sleep because I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have this dream. And it happened. It happened for like a good year. I never even talked to anybody about this. I never mentioned it. Once you started talking about this, it just clicked in my brain. But I remember it. I remember being scared to go to bed, and I was not scared of anything. As a kid, I was like, I wasn't scared of a fucking thing. I would walk through a fire, barefoot and naked. Like I had nothing. There was no fear in me.
For a
And
solid year, though.
all right, 6 months, a year, but it was a long, long time.
I mean, even just like to have it for a few nights in a row is rare. To have the same dream, like a reoccurring dream for like a week, is rare. Like that is not a normal occurrence. You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't. And then, like where you're scared to go to sleep. So it was like I just finally had to fucking figure out a way to shut my brain off and not think about it. And then I did, and I haven't thought about it since until now.
So when it stopped, like, do you remember when it stopped? Like,
No, but I remember praying for it to stop because it was going on for so long. I'm like, this is fucked up. Like, and I remember thinking, like, I know kind of the people who live there. Like, I've seen them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know they're Jehovah's Witnesses. There's nothing like going on. Like, there wasn't like some big creepy person living there or something, where like I would maybe draw conclusions or some shit. But it was fucking freaky, dude.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think Jehovah's Witness would be like demon magnet. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, that religion is so much like Christianity, it's not even funny.
Very similar. It's very similar.
Instead of Jesus being crucified on a cross, he was nailed to a stake. I mean, there's very subtle differences between the two.
Then I think they believe that you can lose your salvation, things like that.
You could what?
Um, you can lose your salvation. I
I don't
think
know
is
what
one of
that
their
means.
core beliefs. Being saved is like when you accept Jesus Christ into your heart.
Yeah, so they think that judgment day is going to come and you're either with them or against them, basically.
I think they think like right now we're living in judgment is the I'd have to look it up. I don't want to say that like right offhand and like kind of discredit their belief system, but
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I don't
that's
think so.
essentially. I think that's essentially. I think I know if it's not them, I know there's one that believes that
I,
we live in hell
yeah,
right now.
there is. I forget one, but it's not that one. Um, I was tried. They tried to indoctrinate me into the Jehovah's Witness. So I went to
Oh yeah,
a couple of their meetings to check it out. It's a very participating religion. Yeah,
man,
like
you as a Jehovah's Witness, I can't actually picture that.
yeah, right. Um,
I would think Buddhist before that, to be honest with you.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I would picture Buddhist. You like the way you are, man. You just like vibes, universe, chill.
Uh, but it's a very participating religion. Like you read the Bible, and then like their church is like interacting and asking questions, and they'll pass you a microphone so you could answer it type deal. They have these like big like baptisms and shit, like at Shea Stadium or fucking Yankee Stadium, like these big fucking things, and they like baptize their people in oceans and pools. Like it's just it's fucking strange. Like the amount of money in religion, it just blows my mind, dude. Like going, they're called Kingdom Halls, and just like going to some of them, like
That's crazy.
in Manhattan, like in New York, like, and they're paying no taxes on it, and it's like decked out and fucking gold, like stairs and shit.
See, that's just a waste in my opinion. But do what you do. It's your money, I guess. But it's like for me, like I always go to like I'm more independent Baptist. I've always gone to like smaller churches. And the
Right.
churches I go to, we don't really have money. We just really make the best out of what we got. You know what I mean? Doing
Yeah.
fundraisers and
Okay.
stuff like that.
It's all those pastors. Oh yeah, we live very meek and blah 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 blah, and they got like a fucking pad down the road where they keep the
No,
stable of people.
no, that's not what happens at mine. My
Sure.
pastor actually lives in our fellowship hall right now with his
Fellowship
family.
what?
The fellowship hall.
Hole? H
Hall?
O Hall. Oh, okay. I'm like, damn.
Fellowship hole. Just a goddamn manhole cover that
Yeah.
we
You're in the fellowship hole.
just throw people down there when we have events.
Hello,
But
can
yeah,
you hear
no,
me?
I'm in the fellowship hole.
The fellowship hole.
Yeah.
I feel like we clicked on the wrong movie.
Click, click.
But at the same time, I've seen a lot of churches, and it kind of bothers me too. Like, because I've gone to bigger churches. Like an ex of mine goes to this big church in well, I won't say, but goes to this big church in the city
Yeah,
near
no.
where we live, and it's a good church. The preaching's not bad, but at the same time, I asked her, I was like, what do they do like in the community? What's the extracurricular stuff? Like, how are they helping anybody? And she goes, well, sometimes we go to this football field and we preach in front of the school. Okay, cool. Anything for like homeless people, like the needy, stuff like that, because they got money. This church had an elevator. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's like, what do you do for the community is the thing. Because it used to be back in the day, the reason why people were so loyal to like churches wasn't just because they thought they were going to be eternally damned, but they would do stuff like, like give out food to the needy and take in the homeless and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Orphan kids.
Molest the children.
At a certain stage, that was like the Bronze era. I feel like I'm Catholicism.
That was a crazy era where they were just like taking priests from molesting kids and like just moving them to another country and putting them in a different parish.
Like, how long has this been happening that nobody knew? You know what I mean?
Yeah, or how long has it been going on that everybody knew and fucking molesters are becoming priests because it's like an inside joke?
For real, it's like, hey man, you really like touching little boys? I got the perfect job. I got the
Yeah,
perfect job. No one will suspect.
yeah. You know,
That's
like if you like
crazy.
learning and stuff, you could get a job in the school district or something. If you if you like raping little boys and girls, you'd be going to the church.
Yeah. You know the problem is like that I have with that is like everybody's like, oh yeah, priest touch little boys. And it's like, oh, you're a Christian, you know what I'm saying? They kind of relate it to everybody. And it's like, nah, that wasn't everyone.
Well,
That
yeah,
was just there
100%.
primarily.
Like, what does God care if a priest is married or not?
I
Like,
don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me because there's no rule set for that.
right?
There's nothing that indicates anywhere that's like, no, you can't be married and have sex. Like,
Like,
there's nothing there that says that.
you can't jerk off as a priest, and you're
Actually, yeah.
expecting them to not have like sexual deviances to them. Like, of course, I'm not saying you should start molesting kids, but holy fuck, if you have so many
Just goes there.
yeah, just putting that out there. I'm not saying that, but if you have like a group of 100 men and you're telling them fucking to not jerk off and not fuck, like they're going to get weird. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but no excuse. But yeah,
Yeah,
eventually they're gonna look for alternatives.
right.
You know,
Like, why can't a priest fucking go and spank his monkey? You know what I'm saying? And like, how are they supposed to teach you about
oh, they're gonna teach you.
marriage and yeah. But like some people go to a priest for like marriage advice. And how is he to do that?
I never understood that either. Like, what experience with marriage do you have? You've never been married, my guy.
Right. Oh, I'm married
Like,
to God. How often are you banging him? Is the question.
never. It's a very.
If you're married to God, does he blow you?
I think that's like the concept is just strange to me. But there's a lot of things like I've looked into a few things when it comes to Catholicism, and I just don't understand. You know what I'm saying? But it kind of goes back to me like the structured religion type ordeal.
Right.
Like you can see like certain religions, they have certain rules and they actually benefit you. And I think those come from like the very start, like where the founding of the religion was with the good intentions. You know what I mean? Like even if you take a look at, the Islamic religion, it like they tell you to stay away from pork because that
It's
meat is
dirty.
not, yeah, it's not a healthy meat for you. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at a lot of the diet patterns, even if you follow like a diet from in the Bible, it's a lot healthier than what most people eat nowadays. Like if you pay
Yeah,
attention,
well, they didn't have fucking processing plants to make all the good shit we have now. Like they didn't have candy and fucking sugar, refined sugar back then. So it was like bread and water and fucking wheat.
yeah, for sure. Definitely a lot easier. Well, I wouldn't even say easier. Pros and cons
Yeah,
is what I
no,
would say.
not easier. It's very easy to go into Wawa and buy myself a
Right,
bag
right.
of chips
Just
and
buy a
then
honey
fucking
bun,
sit there and
like
cut
pig
them.
out.
Imagine how long it would take you to make a bag of chips from potatoes if you had to do that shit by hand.
Yeah, because you gotta grow the potatoes and you gotta.
Oh God, you're going
Like,
that
it's a
far with it? I
process.
was just talking about the
Well, I mean,
process
it's not
of
like they
like,
had grocery stores. I mean, I guess they could go to the market, but what if the farmers had a bad year? You know, what if you are the potato farmer? You know, you're the one that get the chips from.
have you ever tried mead?
No, I haven't, but I hear it's sweeter. Like I hear it's a sweeter brew.
Oh, it's very, very sweet. Um, so I went to the first meadery in New Jersey. It's a fucking cool spot. And I never had it before. But the way it was made was they used to like sell honey, and the honey would be in these big, like pots or whatever. And I guess it rained one day and some shit fermented. And I don't remember if it was, I think it was the stuff that was on the top of the honey was the mead. And, they took the first drink of it or put it on their bread or whatever to eat it, and they got buzzed and they realized, oh shit, so if we let this stay out in water and ferment, it'll turn into something that fucks us up.
It'd be
and
lit.
and that was the first alcohol. Yeah, so that was the mead was the first alcohol, and all the fat kings and shit would be drinking it, but it's
That's
good.
pretty cool. I'll have to try it out. I like anything that's like better than beer,
It's
to
more
be
like
honest with
wine
you.
to me.
Mead.
They had
I
a
need a
fucking
mead.
really good, it was a jalapeno mead that was, oh, so good. Sweet honey with a jalapeno mix to it.
Dang, it actually sounds pretty delicious.
It was scrumdiddlyumptious. And I was doing my keto thing at the time, so I had to go off it to drink some of that mead, and worth it.
When's the last time you did keto? Was it like you still do it now or
Yeah, I'm doing it now. I'll go off of it every now and again, but it gets to be where when and if I do have carbs or sugar that I like hate myself for it and I feel bad like right after eating them.
like bad emotionally or bad like my
Both
stomach hurts?
physically and mentally I'm upset with myself, but like, physically it's just not good. Like my body runs a lot better with lower carbs and less sugar.
Well, that's what I heard too. Like if you do the keto thing for like 2 weeks, like you'll feel bad in that beginning 2 weeks. You know what I mean? But after you get a chance to clear out all the bad processed stuff, you feel great, like a ton of energy, things like that.
Yeah, they call it the keto flu that you could have for like the first week or two as your body's going into ketosis. I've never really felt it, but I'm not too in tune like with my body. Like
Feel it.
I know some people they're like, "Oh, my whatever doesn't," and I'm like, "You have that much like
My double
no,
oblongata's acting up.
yeah." Like, "Oh, my fucking left whatever feels weird." I'm like, "I don't even know I have one of those." And you're
I didn't
like
even know that was
feeling,
when I come
yeah.
out with a new update or like that was pre-installed. Like, what's the deal with that?
What's the dealio?
Yeah, my sister gets like that where she can like point out the organ that she's having the issue with. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you know?
Right.
You know? It's because she's Googled the signs. You know what I
Like I
mean?
know when my sex organ is acting up because you know, it lets me know these things.
And it gives
But
you the
my
old
other
floppy disk, huh?
organs, they do call is it a sexual organ? Is it an actual organ? Like can I donate this bad boy when I die?
Yeah, it's a sexual organ. I consider that. I imagine you could be a donor. You know what I mean? Maybe someone need a couple more inches.
Yeah, I want to donate a quarter of my dick to kids with autism and the other three quarters. They're like, wait a
Well,
second, dude, you're doing a lot with 3 inches over there. You got a lot of quarters going into centimeters, my man.
I don't even know how to like make quarters out of 3 inches. That's crazy. It's
Yeah.
uneven math right now.
Can I get the metric ruler for this?
Hey, you know you brought up World War II earlier though.
Um, yes, I do.
Listen, it's so crazy like how much was invented by the Nazi Party that we use nowadays.
Like crystal meth.
Um, yes, methadone, an opioid drug, which is used as a pain reliever, was essentially created by the Nazi Party.
For what?
Pain, to relieve pain.
Wait, method? Are you sure? I thought morphine.
Today, methadone, an opioid drug, is used as a pain reliever and as a treatment for addiction to other opioids.
Yeah,
The drug
like
was developed in Germany in 1939.
you take methadone if you're like trying to come off of heroin.
Yeah, but it's also used as a pain reliever,
Yeah. No,
like as
I
a
just
substitute.
I would think the Nazis were using stronger shit than that.
No, apparently, like there was like during the war, they had a lot of trades for like supplies to other countries, and the countries cut them off. So
Yeah.
they had to make do with what they had. They even because they were cut off from the ingredients to make
Oh,
Coca-Cola, they started making Fanta. That's literally how Fanta came into being. That soda.
Fanty's Nazi fucking communist party.
Yep, the jerry can was invented by the Nazis.
What
Even
the
they
fuck is
even
that?
they were even a large contributor to the like invention of men. And jerry can is just like a water can, or I'm sorry, gasoline. But it's like this metal water can that you can use. You can also put gas in it. But
Metal water can. It sounds rusty.
mm, no, no, only if you got your hands on it, John. But they also like were major contributors to the development of like the same kind of model for helicopters that gets used today. And one of their designs was even became the US stealth bomber, like their stealth technology. The
Really?
United States acquired that and turned
We
it
didn't
into
have
the stealth bomber.
helicopters back then? That's
So
crazy.
yeah, I mean it wasn't wholly credited to them, but in 1937 it looks like they
When the
followed a experiment which led to the future helicopter designs.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I said, like even like the stealth bomber, which right now other countries have tried to like emulate the stealth bomber, and they have no idea how we really do it. And we got that from the Nazi Party, like the initial design,
Wow.
obviously with some improvements.
That thing looks straight out of a fucking alien thing, and it hasn't changed
Dude,
since it came out.
no need to fix what's not broken. You know what I mean?
Looks like fucking Darth Vader's helmet.
It looks crazy, like something out of Star Wars, for
It's
sure.
fucking badass.
It is cool, man. But it doesn't show up on radar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the around the world, they have a hard time figuring out how we do it, but we know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
They have a
But
hard time figuring out how we do a lot of shit.
America, you know what I mean?
America.
But nah, it's just
America.
crazy. It's just crazy because Hitler had nothing off of the board. And I'm not giving him any credit or praising him at all, but there was nothing that wasn't worth looking into in his mind. Like he really,
No, you don't have to praise a guy, but you could definitely look at somebody's accomplishments, even if what they accomplished was like horrible evil. I mean, it's
for
still an
sure.
amazing feat. What the fucker did, like to get that many people on board with your fucking lunacy is crazy.
I hear he even made a special effort to acquire the spear that was supposed to be the spear that stabbed into Jesus' side when he was on the cross.
Did
Like
he
he
get
wanted
it?
to have that. Yeah, apparently according to the rumors, he did acquire that spear. I don't know why I guess it was like this is one of the weapons that actually hurt God. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, if it
Wasn't
had the blood of Christ on it.
Yeah, so he acquired that supposedly, which is interesting. At one point in Hitler's life, which is one of the most interesting things to me, he tried to become a priest,
For
and he
what
was turned.
religion?
I think it was Catholicism where
He
he
was a
tried to become a
Catholic.
priest. I think
He
so.
certainly wasn't Jewish.
Yeah. But no, it's like I believe he tried to become a priest and they turned him away.
See, they'll fucking accept all these child molesters, but they couldn't accept Hitler. They
It
could have
kind of makes
changed
you
the world.
wonder. Um, it kind of makes you wonder what would have happened if he would have become a priest.
Yeah, I blame fucking um, the Holocaust on Catholics. They didn't
Yeah,
accept Hitler into their priesthood, and
it looks like Hitler used to be a choir boy.
oh my
Those are the ones
god,
that got touched.
I would love to see pictures of Hitler in a choir boy dress.
Oh my gosh, bro! Can you imagine? In my mind, he had that mustache since he was a baby.
Well, that's what was he the first? I mean, Charlie Chaplin, was that before or after Hitler? Like, because I've really, besides him and Charlie, I've never seen anybody with that mustache.
Never. I think it was around the same time, maybe.
And if Chaplin was after Hitler, that's pretty ballsy.
That really was.
especially
see
during
here.
that time. It seems like it was right around, you know.
Yeah, no, it's hard to say, but like just judging by like some of the stuff that was released, I
Is this
almost
like
want
the
to say that
chicken
Charlie
or the
Chaplin was
egg? We don't
before.
know which one came first.
He was, let's see here. He was born April 16th, 1889.
Who? Hitler.
Chaplin,
April 20th is Hitler then.
April 20th,
Yeah.
1889.
So I told you I knew when you said April 16th. I'm like, wait a second, Hitler was somewhere in
Yeah,
April.
you're right. Hitler was literally April 20th
Yeah.
of the same year.
The only reason I
Same
know
month, same
Hitler's
year.
birthday is because I was a big marijuana fan, and 420 was like a a pot date. It's not
Yeah, so
so
you knew all the other dates that came with it.
right. So then when I found out Hitler's birthday was that day, it just stuck in my brain. I wasn't like, oh, let me celebrate Hitler's birthday.
Oh, for sure. No, we can tell you're a fan. You know what I mean?
Oh, major fan. Hung
But
da,
yeah.
take a pie, hey.
You know what's so crazy about that? That man wanted everybody to be blonde haired and blue eyed, and he didn't even have either one of those traits,
Yeah,
either one of those features.
yeah. I heard he was born without any sexual organs,
A eunuch?
and that's
That
why he
would
was so frustrated.
that would explain his attempt to become a priest.
Yeah, that would.
You know, the plot thickens,
What if that they should do that
but he never
to
will.
priests, castrate them? He will
I
never
think
thicken. Was that a rub on his girth of his pecker?
right. He will never thicken.
Yeah.
Though the plot might.
Who is it?
Hitler never will.
Rasputin, the fucking Russian. They have like his dick in a mason jar, and it's like
You're
huge.
no, that can't be right.
Look at it, dude.
What?
Rasputin, I think his name is. They like when he died, it was so legendary. They like cut it off and put it in a fucking water thing, like
They're like,
pickled it.
whoa, this thing is 5 inches.
It was like 9, soft.
It was a solid 9 soft for
Did
sure.
you see it?
I swear, bro. Rasputin's penis, the Mad
Yeah.
Monk's mythical magical.
Can you share it?
Yeah, I suppose I could.
Yeah, go ahead. Let them.
Let me get a good picture of it real
kick us
quick.
off.
Oh my god. Well,
Let me see this guy's.
it
hog.
is something to behold.
Let me see this gentleman's pecker.
Sure. Yeah, I want you to see his face first. That's even better.
Why do I want to see his dick and his face?
Because it really helps sell it. Like, here
This
he
one
is.
Oh my god. He doesn't
Like-
look like he'd have a big dick. He actually looks like Charles Manson.
No, look at his eyes. That's BDE all the way, bro. That's big dick energy right there. You can
Yeah.
see it in his face. And then
This
all of
one-
a sudden, wow, looks like
Oh
a
my
giant's finger.
God. Look at that thing. And
I love
what's
how
it
there's a book.
attached to?
I assume some parts of the testicles. This looks like an eyeball, like a jewel. Like maybe a
And, like,
ruby.
What is this under his head? Like, you see it by the tip?
I feel like maybe that's some decomposition. Maybe they didn't get it in the jar quick enough.
But my God, he gets girthy as he goes to the
It
beach,
literally looks like a baby's arm.
holding an apple.
Yeah. With a bald fist, man. Like, it just,
My God.
I love how here's the book.
Is that Darth
the
Vader to
background.
the left? What?
I think that's a statue in dedication of him. Maybe that's Vader praying
Wow.
to what I can only assume he thought was a Sith god.
Penis worship. Yeah, but I heard he fucked like so many people. He was
Ah.
like a legendary cocksman. Just
Oh, look.
swooned. Yeah.
That's probably exactly what it is for penis worship. That's crazy.
Wait a second. It says something about Rasputin's daughter, Maria, then a circus performer who later tamed lions with Hagnamall Circus, discovered a group of women in Paris that had
Scroll up.
been, well, down. that
We'll say
had-
down.
That had been
just playing.
venerating her father's penis. They believed it could bestow fertility, and they even handed out small pieces of it to those in need. Hey, if you have enough
Jesus.
penis for them to hand out pieces of it, my God.
Well, that would explain what this chunky.
Yeah.
Lord in heaven, to those in need. Who's ever so much in need? Like, I could really use a chunk of dick.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
they
I'm
had to
sorry.
get fertile. That was,
That's crazy.
oh my God. That's funny. He was Russian, though, huh? First museum of erotica in Petersburg.
My God, they even have the name of the person who cut it off.
Wait, says he bought the penis in a wooden casket from two French antique dealers in 2000 for 8,000 bucks. That's crazy, dude. You paid 8 grand for a dick.
Bro, it's worth at least double that now.
8 G's. Oh, he's probably eating pieces of it and he's fucking fertile as hell.
Can you imagine being the guy that appraised?
I'm 99% sure it's real. Like, why?
This could just be some other dude.
Yeah, it's fucking in a pickle jar. It could just be.
I don't even know if it's the genuine article, man. This could not be the real McCoy. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah,
This could be, this could
for
just be some dude named Francois.
for
You
a
know what I'm saying?
flaccid
Gregory.
dick, it's pretty erect. Like, it don't look floppy.
He was obviously a shower and not a grower. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Oh my God, imagine he grew on top of that.
Lord,
Like-
it'd be like an elephant trunk.
Like, not for nothing, if mine goes from flaccid to whatever size it is, like, there's substantial growth there. If this guy has substantial growth, like, he's gonna kill a horse.
I can't even imagine. You know what really bothers me about it the most? Right here, there's little like finger lines. You know, like the little lines in your fingers.
Yeah, you're
Like-
right.
It looks like this had some articulation. You know, like a knuckle there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Like it
holy
looks like he
shit,
could do the old
whose
dupe
fucking
and scoop.
finger would that be? What's that guy?
Goliath?
Harry and the Hendersons. Fucking
Harriet Edgerton's. God, I can't even imagine. But it's just the fact that he has the finger lines here. Like it looks like there's a knuckle. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It looks
I
like
mean,
solid
I'd
thumb.
like to see what your penis looks like in a jar after 20 years.
I feel like the lines would go away because that comes from bending.
Ask your girlfriend to remove your balls from the mason jar so we could see what they look like.
I know you think that's funny. No, just fun.
But they really are in a mason jar and they hurt.
Right. I
You
can
can
feel
stop
them
sharing.
now. They call out to me.
So I could see your pretty face.
All for you,
I
baby.
see your face.
No, that's crazy, man. You know, I could have really gone my whole life without knowing about Rasputin's penis in a jar.
Sure. That
But
changed your life forever.
at the same time, though, this is very interesting.
You know the
Can you
band
imagine
Live?
like how? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Let me hear.
Like I was like, can you imagine how small everybody's penises must have been for them to be like, we really have to memorialize this?
I mean, just the fact that they were putting penises in jars is funny to me.
There's like an
Right.
island somewhere. I can't remember what it's called, but it was like an island where like they
Of
celebrate
misfit
penises.
penises?
They celebrate penises. Like it's built into like their structures. It's painted on everything. Just a bunch of penises everywhere.
I mean, it should be. Should be celebrated. It's a phallic. That's beautiful. But it used to be. I mean, back in the day, they used to paint fucking people naked and shit all the time.
Well, no, I think the Romans, right? They believe that the smaller the penis, the more like intelligent the person was.
Yeah, I think because like a lot of like David statue, he had like a little dick
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah, they're like, wow, he's really smart.
But again, maybe he was a grower.
I mean, I guess it
and
could have
not a
been.
shower. Maybe he had like 12 inches down there once that bad boy came to fruition.
It's like blowing up a balloon for a kid's party.
Imagine that, like what a cruel joke it is. Like you have like the biggest dick in the world, hard but like soft. It's like the
You
smallest,
just gotta give me a chance.
and you just have to walk around naked all the time. And
You
everyone's
just
like,
gotta
"Oh,
give me
look
a
at
chance."
David with his little fucking schnock."
What
And
a
all of
loser.
sudden, the wind blows and fucking, he's now got a third leg.
Can you imagine all the stupid people that had small penises, but they just got chalked up to being smart? They got put in charge. You know what I mean? Like
I
you're super
never
intelligent.
drew the line between penis size and brain power, but
But they did, you
Nice
know, that's
start.
their leadership. And
so
them-
Lexington Steel must be dumber than dog shit because that guy's huge.
can you just imagine like seeing someone's penis, like their skirt just blows up in the wind, like, oh, what a nerd.
Dude, I'm not joking. I used to like fuck around with chicks, and I would when I was single, I would say, you know, I just this is hard for me to say, but like my dick is really like big, and it's like a problem. And they'd be like, well, what do you mean? Like, I'd be like, well, when I get hard, the blood all rushes from this head and down there, and it just like removes so much blood from my body, like I almost pass out. And they'd be like, no way, are you serious? I'd be like, yeah, let me
See,
show you. Come here, lady. But
that's what I hate about like when you talk and you just like be like BS and stuff. Because the way you say it, it
it
sounds so
sounds
real.
real. Yeah,
Like
well,
I could
that
just
was
believe it.
I'm saying it to this chick, and she's like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "No, like really? I get so hard that I pass out because it's so big." I'm like, "Yeah, my that Toyota out there is a Tesla too. You want to go for a ride?"
You know, you know what's interesting about that too is like they do that. There's that penis enlargement stuff that you can get, right?
How does that work?
My
Oh,
thing is
like
like,
it's
what if
like
that really does that really affect your blood flow if you did get it? Because how does that work? You know what I'm saying? Like, do they just expand what's already there? You know what I
is
mean?
this surgery or is this some kind of pill?
From what I've heard, um, because I follow these guys that do this gaming channel, and they just talk about random stuff. He's like, apparently there's like 2 or 3 inches in your body, and they just pull it out.
Wow.
And the guys on there were like, "So you mean I have a chance?"
Yo, I don't give
But
a fuck, dude. I don't care if I was literally hung like an infant. Nobody is touching my shit and possibly affecting it to where I can't use it.
my thought is, right, when you hold a stick, it stays out because you have that part in your hand, right?
Right.
So if you pull it out, there's nothing to give it that support. So what is it
Right.
just like, you know what I'm saying? Can you just break your stuff like that?
Well, I don't know. There's definitely a muscle in there because, you can make your fucking thing, go up and down.
Yeah, you you can make a jump.
Yeah. Um, so I always thought that the muscle was holding it up. I didn't realize I had fucking 3 inches inside
Yeah,
that I need to
you
start
got
letting
three
women
inches of
know
hope in
about.
there, man. You got three
Excuse
inches
me,
of hope.
ma'am. There's 3 inches buried deep in there that you're not feeling right now. So how dare you?
If you want a good pick, you're gonna have to get an X-ray. Is the thing. Like you're gonna have to take
Yeah.
an X-ray of that.
Did anybody ever tell you you have a big vagina? Because I'm
Well, you know what?
average.
You know they say like the male penis is just like the reason why we have nipples, right? Is because at some point, like everybody starts off as a girl, but at some point during the pregnancy, like hormones get released or whatever that decide like whether or not you're gonna stay a girl or turn to a boy.
I have
And literally
nipples,
like
Josh. Could you milk me?
and like literally I'll try not to, but literally it's like all of your stuff is just a vagina turned inside out.
Well, yeah. I mean, your balls are ovaries that dropped,
Yeah.
literally.
But at the same time though, have you ever thought about like, and maybe I'm weird, but sometimes I'm like some of the people, right?
Yeah.
Like picture like this, like some of the girls that you slept with, right?
I've
You know what they
I'm a
felt like on the
virgin.
inside, right?
Yeah. I mean,
So
relatively.
imagine if they were turned inside out.
Okay.
What would their pee pee look like? Would it be big, small? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at that point,
Yeah, I've never thought about that.
would a guy with a big penis, would he have a big vagina as well? Like a spatial in a sense?
Yeah, could be. I mean, I guess there's all different size vaginas, but I mean, they're not to the point where you could see them. And I've never been like with a chick where I'm like, oh, this is really loose vagina. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like
no.
they
That's
all
that's more of a
relatively feel the same ish. Women certainly know how to use it a little bit better and have their, what's that muscle that they could squeeze and stuff like that. But, you
I don't know
know,
the muscle, but I know the exercise they use to train that
Kegel.
Kegel. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know,
Yeah, no. Like for the most part, they all feel pretty much the
relatively,
same. Like it's hard
yeah.
to tell if there's like a real size difference there. But at the same time, though, you get those dudes that have those massive, you know, PPs. You know what I'm saying?
I have had the short vaginas where there's like a wall there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying that you
Hmm.
hit. I have had that. Not
See,
never.
that one's scary in my opinion because you can really mess
Yeah,
them up
for
if you're
sure.
not careful.
Yo, the first time I wore a cock ring, I didn't know how to use it or what I was doing with it, or I probably still don't. But I
I've
put it
never
on the
worn a cock ring before.
yeah, it's nothing crazy. But you're supposed to put it at the base of your dick, and I put it on the tip. And
Will you marry me? He's
what?
about to propose.
Yeah. And I ended up losing it inside of this girl, and like, you bang and whatever, and then like pull out, and I'm like, oh shit, it's not there.
Did
And
you
like I
kind of
had
just
to
like?
fish it out. Like, we were like I was like a minute away from like, I don't know what to do here, but call 911.
Did you find? You
Um,
finally got it though.
finally got it. Yeah, but
Oh
it
my
was
god,
like, you had to like kind of hook it. It was like strange as fuck.
bro! I
Uh,
bet you were sweating bullets because I would have been. I'd have been like just stressed.
I was kind of all right. I was like, yo, she's gonna be on her own in a minute. Like I was a
And this
minute
is gonna be a you probably here in a second.
I was a minute away from calling an Uber before they existed. But yeah, that was strange. No, it was definitely freaky. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. That was the first time I realized you could lose something up there. I also
See,
go.
no, I was just gonna say that's why I'd like the thought of introducing toys in the bedroom kind of freaks me out, just because it's like some
You
things
think
you
she's
know
gonna
you
lose a dildo up there, honey? Where'd
well
that go?
something like some things you know you're gonna have like a good grip on, but you ever seen those little eggs attached to the string? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh,
Like I've heard horror stories of people actually getting that lost inside, like
yeah.
losing that.
I'm sure. And you got to go to the doctor, and they fucking hook you up to a vacuum.
My God, bro.
Um.
If I ever got something lost in my girl, she'd never let me touch it again. I would never.
Oh yeah.
I, no, I would never get any kind of privilege like that ever again.
Wow. She's got
She
you on
hates anything.
lockdown.
She hates anything medical. She hates having to go to the doctor, to the hospital. If I had to make her have to go to the hospital because I couldn't get it out,
Oh my god. Do
I
you
don't
think
even know
she
if
would
she'd
be
stay with me,
done?
man.
Do you
She
think she
might be
would be
done with me
done?
at
You'd
that point.
have no more vagina supplied?
Nah, she might even just be done with me at that point. The fact that I put her through such a traumatic event for her.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I can't see that going well at all.
She gets the hospital bill and just pieces out.
Yeah,
Later.
but it's so hilarious, man. She's about to be on her own in a minute, so I'm fine.
I gotta wonder, are there really people like you've heard like people getting gerbils stuck up their ass and stuff like that? Like,
I've heard myths. I've never like who lets that go so far. You
well,
know
that's
what I
what I'm
mean?
saying. There's got to be truth to it. Like, I don't know anybody personally that's done it, but that story's been around so long. Like, I feel like there's got to be something to it.
Physically, it's 100% possible. Like it is 100% possible for that to happen. Because gerbils and stuff like that, they can already compress their bodies down and get into tight spaces, and the vagina can take like what 10 inches, like around. You know
I've
what I
seen a
mean?
vagina take way more than 10 inches, dude. I'm not joking. I've seen fucking like those mini baseball bats shoved up there.
That's crazy.
Dude, Lexington Steel. I was like, that dude's got like a 15-inch dick. You've
That's
never
just
heard of
too much,
Lexington
man.
Steel, the like big black porn star? He's like legendary. It's like
No,
porn
I don't have
for the.
male porn star names memorized.
You don't know. Uh, actually, what is his name? Oh, John Holmes. You've never heard of John Holmes?
I don't know the names of the dudes. I don't.
Wow. It's like here Ron Jeremy.
That guy I know, but you see him in like ads. You know what I mean?
Uh, yeah, that's like Lexington Steel. Ron Jeremy, Lexington Steel, and fucking John Holmes are like the dudes from porn.
I
They're
mean,
like,
maybe
it's like Jenna Jameson or fucking of the porn world.
I feel you. I feel like I've heard those names before. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I
Like
feel like if I
I
like saw
understand
their
you're not
face, I
looking up
probably
their biography and studying them, but
no,
those
I'm
names
not.
got to be in your fucking brain.
I mean, I have probably heard them, but I don't make a habit of memorizing the guys' names because I never go searching for them
Sure.
again. I mean, you can roll your eyes if you want to. It's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't make it a habit of memorizing the dude's name either, but when they're fucking
Clearly.
richly famous, it's like I don't know the dude who invented Hewlett Packard, but I do know Bill Gates from Microsoft. It's like
I guess that's
that.
true.
I don't
Yeah.
fucking study those things, but there's just
I just don't think
certain
any of the
things.
videos I ever watched, they ever list the guys' names. Like, I feel like if I
Oh my
saw the
god! If you're
names,
watching credits on porn, you have issues.
no, in the description, they'll put like
Oh
the name of the actors
yeah,
in
I
the
don't get into
description.
that. I'm just straight up put on. I look at the thumbnail and then check it out. I get right to the business. I'm not. I don't want dialogue. I don't want.
No, I'm not for that either. But like sometimes they'll put it in the title of the video, and I read the title. I mean, it's not like I'm trying to read the title, but sometimes I do.
Yeah, like
Like it's
sometimes
just
it'll fucking. Sometimes the title will fuck me up. Like I want to watch this one, but it's like, oh, step brother bangs his stepsister, and I'm like, fuck, I don't even want that thought in my brain as I'm trying to do this. Like, she's hot, I want to get this going, and now I can't watch it because they have to fictitiously put that they're fucking or mother and son. That's the best when the mother walks in. Oh my god, she talked to the guy's
yeah. Her first
girlfriend.
reaction is like,
You
"Oh
don't
well,
know
I
how to
have to have
suck.
sex with you, man."
Yeah. Let me show you how to do that.
Clearly, you need education. I was a priest once.
First, you cup his balls, okay? And then you open up your mouth. Ew.
But
So she's like, "Listen, I was a priest once. I can show you guys how to do this."
yes, I know everything. I was once a priest.
Yeah, like that's realistic. Like that's going to be your mom's first reaction when she sees you banging your sister. You know, you're not doing it right.
Johnny, get your father in here. Let him show you how it's done.
Yeah, that's wild. But that's to be honest with you, that kind of I don't know. Like it felt like it was kind of taking a toll on me mentally, like in like not in obvious ways, but it just
Mm,
felt like I don't know. My brain feels clear when I don't watch it. When I stay away from it is the thing.
yeah, I don't subscribe to that at all. But I do find it fucking crazy, like that they have to come up with all these really crazy, devious things. Like, what do you need to have family fucking for? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you need to have, like, I don't know, like, what are some of the other ones? Oh, babysitter. The babysitter ones where, you know,
Who can afford a babysitter at this point? Like babysitters, like they got them. Like who's that fantasy for? That's for rich people.
yeah,
That's for
and who's
people with
like
money.
25 babysitting? Like who's like 25 hot as fuck babysitting and you
First of all,
know,
it's not realistic because there's no way the wife is ever going to let the man hire a babysitter that is hot
yeah.
like that.
Like I'd be like, honey, you're gonna hire her? Okay.
No, it's wild. Pornhub releases this thing too. Like they released this list globally of like the most searched porn categories for like that year. I think in like 2019 or 2020, something like that. I was watching this on a podcast because I watched Andrew Schultz. I watch his
It's
podcast.
funny he doesn't know the names of the male porn stars, but he knows the most searched porn
No,
term
because
in 2019.
No, because like I said, isn't part of this Andrew Schultz episode for this podcast that he was doing, and Pornhub puts it on this map, and on the map it shows you the different countries and the categories that they were into in those countries. You know what the number
Mm.
one search category was in the United States, which is so ironic to me. Ebony,
Uh, Ebony.
ebony porn, man, number one search in the U.S.
Wow. Is that
And there's some
black guys or
irony
black
to that.
girls?
And there's some irony to that, man.
Yeah, is that black
There's
guys or black girls?
didn't say, did not say.
Yeah, I find all races and nationalities just very beautiful.
I do
There's a,
too.
there's a lot of, I think a black Chinese chick is hot as hell. Like when you get those nice
Yeah,
mixes, my God.
100%. 100%. I don't
Woo!
know. For me personally, like I find all races beautiful. There's not a single race on this planet where it's like if a girl, like if I was interested in a girl, I would just say no because she wasn't a
Oh,
certain
yeah.
race.
God, can you
Um,
imagine?
but I do find the ones that I'm more attracted to are the ones that have darker skin tones. You know what I
Really?
mean?
You
Yeah, like
being
black
so
girls are
dark
number.
yourself.
Huh?
You being so dark yourself.
I can't help it, man. You attract to what you attracted to. You know what I'm saying? Like
True.
it just is what it is. Like I would say black girls are number one. Latina girls are probably number two. Um, Indian girls, I would say, are probably number three, to be honest with you. Like the darker skin tones, I just really vibe with that. I'm just more attracted initially.
Yeah, but you gotta watch the cuisine with those Indian chicks because they could start having a scent to them that is not becoming.
I like Cajun.
I don't
I
mind
like some
Cajun.
curry.
It's like, yeah, but it's like it starts coming out of their pores.
Their walls smell like it. Like if like my dad, he stayed at a hotel room and he could smell the curry through the wall.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And when they opened up the door, you could smell the curry just flood out
yeah.
from that. Like I don't know if that's just something they use in everything or like what the deal is, but they
Asians too.
yeah,
Their cuisine could give them a scent. Not racist. Truth.
cultural
Yeah. It's
is
like
what they
if
grew
I
up with.
said that, black people are dark. It's true.
Can be.
Asian women smell down below. It's true. Anyway,
That's a little much.
yeah, all Asian and Indian women stink. Your vaginas smell like dirty caves with bats rotting in them, with
That
COVID
is his
19 coming
opinion.
out.
We do not share the same opinion. That is
Thou
his opinion.
shall, thou shall not share this opinion. So, have you? Did you tell your mother not to listen to the show because the host is a psychopath?
No, I don't think I've ever. I don't have any kids on my Facebook to worry about. Like, because I mean, I feel like as an adult, if you have like, unless they're your own kids,
I just
then
remember
you
you
shouldn't
saying
have
last
any
week, like,
kids.
"Oh, I want to watch what I'm saying in case my mother, like, you were cursing or something." You're like, "Oh, she might be listening," so I didn't know if.
Yeah, but that's because she can smack me. She can't hit you, dear.
Right, right, right.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
anyway, Miss Joshua J, how are you? You raised a good kid. Don't mind me. I just talk a lot of nonsense. I mean none of it. Um, or I
That
mean
is
half of it.
true.
I do.
100%.
Yeah.
Listen, man, something weird I want to talk about though.
Oh no.
I just want to get your take on it.
Sure.
Have you heard of like the different stages of society?
No, like the stages of grieving.
No, so these are actually there's this like scientist,
Oh,
a
stage
science
one,
guy.
stage two, and you're saying we're
Yeah,
in
yeah,
stage
yeah.
one.
It's the
Yeah, let me hear you.
Kardashev scale. We kind of like brought this up like a little bit like in the first episode, I think. But I looked more into it. I've been looking into it because it's just an interesting concept. But the idea, he like released this paper where he talked about the scale. When he released it was 1 to 3 was the scale. And it's essentially just based off of a society's ability to use the energy around them, like all energy sources for the
Okay.
advancement of that society. So stage one would be the ability to use all forms of energy and control and manipulate them, all forms of energy on the planet. Stage
Okay.
two is to use your star, all forms of energy that can be produced by your star, you can 100% control and manipulate.
Okay.
Stage three was the ability to use all forms of energy in your galaxy, right? Now, later on, they added like people added like stage 4 and 5, which has to do with like traveling, like manipulating almost reality and traveling to other like sides of the galaxy and what have you. But what's interesting is that he's far from the only scientist that subscribed to this thought. And he originally developed this scale because he studied like extraterrestrial radio signals from space, and he wanted a way to kind of
Now wait a
like
second. You just put out a interesting fact. He studied extraterrestrial radio stations from outer space.
yeah, radio signals from space. Because every once in a while, like scientists would get these pings from like outer space where they're like actual radio signals where it's like something is trying to be sent to us.
So it's not a sound that is from the galaxy or the universe. This is a something made sound, like a being made sound.
I think it would be easier to say that it's more of a signal than
Okay.
anything else. At that point, I mean, I guess you could probably translate it into a sound, and I think they probably have. But essentially, he wanted a way to describe like the advancement of these other civilizations or their potential advancement and how it
Hmm.
relates to us. And back then, when he created this, he estimated that we were at about we weren't even at one. We were like at a 0.4 is what we were at.
Okay.
So because right now, because
Keep talking. Don't you pay attention to what I show people?
all right, but he was at essentially because we rely on coal and dead plants and animals, stuff like that, to get our energy back then we were 0.4. It's estimated right now we're at about a 0.72 right
Hmm.
now. In order for us to actually reach stage one, which is just full absolute 100% harnessing of the
Power.
energy that's on the earth itself, it would be about 100 to 200 years. Stage two, they estimate about 11,000. And stage three, they estimate anywhere between 100,000 to a million for us to reach stage three.
Wow. Because I think once you
Yeah.
hit stage one, I think the other stages are not too far behind. I don't think it will take that long, in my uneducated opinion.
Potentially, but I know like right now, like the main thing is to be able to use energy that's outside of like oil and coal and stuff like that. Like to be able to utilize things like solar,
Right.
water. In these theories, essentially the civilizations could even use earthquakes to generate energy, even by creating earthquakes and creating giant waves and tsunamis to generate this energy and
Totally.
just
If you could
manipulating it
harness
completely.
that energy from a tsunami or a fucking earthquake, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and that's just stage one. That's just once you hit stage one that you're able to do that.
What if, I mean, we're kind of almost there. I mean, with the water and solar and stuff like that, I mean, does nuclear count as power from this land, or is that a
I mean,
different?
it's got to, right? I mean, because that's essentially like right now, I think what keeps us from being at that stage one is that even though we can harness that power, we can't freely manipulate it or induce a lot of those things to happen when we say so, right?
Hmm,
Like the waves, the tsunamis, we can't really create those tsunamis to the scale which they would provide enough energy for us to use however we like and
right.
see fit.
Well, that's
Like
not
we're
what I'm hearing. CERN.
potentially, but the cool thing about this theory too is like right now being at the 0.72 or whatever they were at, I feel like we're close too, especially with like these other countries like rushing to develop these fusion reactors, which I think would really be the major key to being able to
I thought
catapult
it was
everything
China.
forward. China is. They essentially made like a what they consider to be a miniature sun. I did look into it though, and essentially what they did is because of the
Was
heat that's
steal the
generated from the
United States
fusion,
technology?
they're going stealth. But essentially what they did is they're testing not the fusion itself, but they're testing their technology's ability to withstand the heat that comes from the fusion. And they ran their generator for 17 minutes and it withstood 75 million degrees Celsius, which is 5 times harder than the surface of the sun.
Shoo.
For 17 minutes, which broke the previous record that was held by France for like 309 minutes. If they ran it for theirs.
So they could hold the sun in there?
Essentially, the heat that they withheld was about 5 suns worth. Their surface,
Jeez.
anyways. hmm
I just don't believe it. Because, like, where, how did they get something that hot? One, how did they contain it? And then once it, melted down, releasing all that into the atmosphere would be devastating, that amount of heat. Um,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't believe it.
it has to do with like plasma, like something along those lines. But it's such an interesting thought that we're getting just like, because this is a major leap into the realm of having a fusion reactor where we're implementing that type of technology.
Right.
And dude, once that stuff starts happening, man, technology is going to advance on a scale that we haven't seen in years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that 100%. Um sorry, I just blurred my background. It's messing with me. Um yeah, do you think we're ever, or do we have space time travel, I mean?
I think time travel could be real, but I don't think it's the way that we think it is.
Okay.
So we look at time travel as time itself being an existent thing, but truthfully, time isn't real. It's not an actual physical force that exists, right?
It's relative.
Um, well, yeah, I mean, time is a unit of measurement. You know what I mean? Like, truthfully, like we say that time is passing because we see things degrade and end and begin over time,
Right.
and we relate it to that. But truthfully, all that is just things going through a cycle, and that's not related to time. It doesn't physically exist. So time travel, I think, is less traveling through the physical force of time
Right.
and more so traveling through different points of space,
Okay.
like points of existence itself. And I think it's possible for something like that to exist. But it also makes you wonder, because right now, like a lot of the like modern day theories on space, like time travel itself, is that you would never travel on the same. Like if you look at our timeline as a highway, right?
Yeah.
In order for you to go back in time, you would essentially have to travel to a highway of which that point in time exists. So it would branch off from the highway that you're on, essentially be occurring at the same exact time, but it would be like us talking 5 minutes ago, as an example, right?
Okay.
But that would be a whole nother highway that would never affect the one that we're on currently.
Aha.
So like it's hard for me to explain, but it's like essentially there are theories that if you were able to travel back in time, you would never be able to affect the timeline that you came from because it's a different complete road moving forward. You're just branching off into a separate road where all of the instances exist,
Well,
but you're
then you're
just
not traveling back in time, though. You're traveling back in time to a different dimension. But if you're traveling back in time, it already happened and it will happen the same way, unless.
right. So kind of picture it like this. There's a road, the road we're on right now, right? And there's a road to the left of us where the dinosaurs are still alive. Same planet, right?
Mhm.
Same dinosaurs, same
Right.
species, but they're just alive. And in that road, on that road, that's like whatever BC. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? But it's occurring at the same time that we're in right now,
Right.
at the
No,
same
but
time.
that's, yeah, but I still look at those as two separate forms of time travel. That's a time travel to like a different dimension or another. But
Right, exactly. And that's why I say that I don't think time travel exists
because you don't
to
think you
what
could
we
ever go back to in time to where it happened the way it is. It's always going to happen different.
Yeah, so I mean, you can go back in time to like a version where it happened the way that it did, and you influence it and change it, and it goes to its own variation, like its own road. But I don't believe you can travel through the stream of time because time doesn't technically exist. Space exists. We know space exists because we live in it. Time is something we made up as a unit of measurement to describe what we see around us. Like we know in 3 hours I got to be at such and such place. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that just correlates with the position of like the sun and the earth and stuff like that and the time of day.
Well,
And our
you're wrong because Back to the Future got it right, and that's really how you time travel.
that would be cool though. That would be cool.
It's the case.
If you could time
Sorry.
travel, where are you going? What time?
Oh, I guess like I can go the future or the past.
Yeah, either one.
Yeah, I'd have to go to the future.
Why
You
is
know what
that?
I'm saying? Because it's like the past is kind of I kind of know what happened. Like maybe I'd go back and hang out with Jesus, but I really want to see what the future holds and maybe go back to or travel to like 300 years from now when I wouldn't be living on the planet.
You got any hopes that you would hope to see in the future? Like things that you would hope took place?
I truly hope for world peace, and that we could all realize that we're just, you know, the same species living on this planet trying to coexist, and we're really not that different from one another, and all the problems that we make up and um, ways we slice ourselves into different sections of the pie are just unnecessary. And I would hope that one day we could like collectively just treat each other, you know, kind and it be a genuine, you know, way to deal with things. But um, since that'll never happen, I'll just hope that pigs fly out of Satan's butthole one day.
Well, you have me dialed in. That's what I hate about you, man.
Yeah.
Like I was so dialed in for the big butthole thing. You know what I mean? Like
Uh, but yeah, no, I hope for that. I hope that you know, there doesn't have to be starving people. I hope for good shit. I hope there's not you know, douchebags like Putin on the planet that try and invade countries, and I would hope that good always outweighs evil. I guess the best I could put it.
I gotcha. If you could go back in time and you could bring one thing with you to the present that would not affect the timeline at all, wouldn't change anything about what happened, it'd still be the same. What would you bring back from the past?
Hmm. That wouldn't affect anything. I would have to bring back the chalice that Jesus drank from at the Last Supper.
That's a good one. That's interesting.
How
You know
about
what I
you?
bring back?
I know Rasputin's dick, but what else?
No, because you can get that in the present. What I would bring back is because it's perfectly preserved, right? But what I would bring back is I would go to Charlie Chaplin and Hitler, and I would just get a piece of tape and I would snatch off both of those little mustaches and I just put it in
Mhm.
a case. You know what I mean?
And
Like just
would
have
you label one as Hitler's and
yeah,
Chaplin, or
yeah,
have
yeah.
people
This
guess?
is Hitler. This is old Chappie boy, and I would just put it on my wall and be like, "Yo," you know what I mean?
There you
The
go. You've
mark of an
heard it. He'd
error.
go back and get facial hair from two weirdos.
It'll grow back. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. I wonder how Hitler, like, did Hitler have a buzzer, like, bzz, or was he, is this like with a razor? Like, how did he go about getting that so perfectly manicured?
I don't know, man. It had to have been a razor, straight razor, I would think. I saw some like old school buzzers where it looks like the tip of a buzzer, but it's like scissors. And I'm like,
Really?
yo, there's no way that was an even cut.
Oh
You
my
know what I
God.
mean?
As a kid, going to the barber and getting the straight razor used to fucking bug me out.
They actually did the straight razor, like to cut your hair.
Yeah, there's it was Luigi's Barber Shop was the name of it, and it's an old fucking guinea, and he would take out the hot shaving cream, put it on your neck. I'm like fucking 6, you know what I'm saying? And I have like peach fuzz on the back of my neck, and yeah, and I would just be like sitting like, oh my god, don't move, because I'm like this motherfucker.
Listen, I got nicked like really bad, like pouring blood out the side of my head once when I was a kid.
Jesus.
Like it was literally not even like the straight razor, it was just clippers. But the straight razor has seems safer, you know what I mean? But this dude was cutting around my ear and he like stabbed into the side and I just had blood come out and
Oh my god.
I was like 4 or 5 years old. It freaked me out to get a haircut at that point.
What did your parents say?
My mom was pissed. But she was trying to calm me down. You know what I mean? Like she was trying to keep me together because I thought I was dying. You know, so at the same time, it's like she's got to be a good mom, but she definitely wanted to throttle that barber. There's
Oh
no doubt
my
about it.
god. Yeah, I would have body bagged them.
Yeah, I don't know if my dad was there, but I have a hard time remembering a lot of like significant moments in my life that my dad was around for. To be
My
honest.
my dad was walking me to a park one day in the town up north, and it's like around the lake, and he's we're walking around it. Do you hear that? Do you hear that?
Mhm.
It's coming from your end, whatever it is. Are your buds going dead? Maybe it's putting distortion on it. Anyway,
No, I don't think so. I mean, they got full battery, is what my computer's telling me.
all right, it seems fine now. It's just like it sounded like. But anyway,
Okay.
so it's like this lake, and we're walking around, and he's pointing to these dogs over there. And as the lake is curving, I'm looking, and boom, I fell right into the lake. And I forgot why I was telling you the story, but I fell into the lake, and he like grabbed me by my suspenders and pulled me up. What were you talking about before that? That I
Experiences with your dad, man. Him being around for significant life events.
oh yeah, I don't know. My brain must have just brought it up.
Just thinking about your dad, bro.
Daddy.
Papa. Papa.
Oh my god, my friend's kid used to call Papa.
If my
Gio,
if my kid just naturally as like a tiny child with that little voice called me Papa, I don't
that's
know
what it
how
was.
like I'd lose it, man. That's adorable.
It was
Papa.
that's what it was. It was natural, and the kid used Papa, and crazy cute kid. This was a
Bro,
kid who was like not even a year old, and he's using an iPad, and he's like he would click this thing and go octagon, and he was clicking a octagon shape, and he was saying the words at like fucking 10 months, 11 months old.
Yeah,
Octagon.
no, like my son, he was
You
using
have
a
a kid?
tablet when he was like, well, so I call him my son because that's how I look at him, but it's my girlfriend, her son, essentially.
Gotcha.
Um, but he's my son, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But he was using a tablet at like 2, 3 years old, can't even read, but she knows exactly what to do on this thing. Like knows how to like answer the notifications and stuff like that. Blunt, like crazy,
Isn't
insane.
that amazing?
Yeah, it's like they come out of the womb with the update installed, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just gotta wonder because, as a kid, computers and stuff like that were like they weren't as available and stuff now. So like for me to have access to it as a kid was kind of rare, but luckily I did
Oh,
because my
100%.
father was into it and stuff like that. And it's definitely made my progression and knowledge of computers a little bit better than somebody who didn't grow up with it. So I
Makes
gotta
sense.
wonder now with these kids literally growing up with fucking iPads and computers and shit, like what they're going to be thinking like and coming up with when they're that tuned into the technology world that young.
Yeah, they just so naturally take to it. You know what I mean? You don't
Right.
even have to really teach them to have an affinity for it. They just want to do it and they just pick it up immediately. It almost makes you feel like every time Apple releases a new phone, they just also install the update to whoever's pregnant at that time. You know what I mean? Like they just
To
put
who's
that
ever pregnant. Yeah.
information in.
Oh, they're downloading it to the womb fetus.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and just plugging them up with a lightning cable. Just
you now know how to use iOS 16.1.
like you ready for it. You can use Dynamic Island.
It really is amazing how, like, they are getting like intuitive with these gestures and stuff on phones. Like, you're like, how the fuck should I do this? And then you make whatever gesture you think should be what does it, and it's actually the gesture. You're like, wow, these fuckers are pretty brilliant.
I was blown away when they were showing me ads for stuff I was thinking about. Like
Okay.
like and you got to think like it can't be that they're reading your mind. It has to be like certain like parts of your search history may like lead to that end goal. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're looking at cars and somehow you see you're thinking about a Kia and then you see a
Or
commercial
your
for a Kia.
subconscious is like dumber than dog shit, and they're just like putting the thoughts in your brain. Like, you're like, oh shit, I want that. And then you're like, oh shit, it's on my computer. But really, they were already showing it to you, and you think you came up with
Oh,
the
they kind
idea.
of just use that sleight of hand to make you want to like
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
want
yeah,
that. That
yeah.
could be it too. That could be it too.
I mean, that is crazy though. Like to think about, what you have in your pocket. Like if somebody said to you 20 years ago, I'm going to give you this thing that you carry in your pocket that can be track that can track your every mood, can be turned on so they could hear you, can have the camera turned on so they could see what you're doing, and it's also going to know your habits of what you search and things that you want, and send you ads based on that, and you would be like, no fucking way would I
No
ever
way.
have something like that. And then now you're just like, yes, please. Where do I sign? And how much is the latest, greatest one? I need the newest one so they could see me and hear me better and track me.
Bro, if you would have took the phones that we had and you took it to the older generations, like you got to sign all of this to use this phone, they'd be like, no way, I don't trust this in the slightest. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. They signed these TikTok user agreements.
No, I just mean like back in the day before the technology was originally
Oh,
released,
yeah.
they just wouldn't trust it. But now it's like we're just willing to not even read it just to sign up for it. Like you give like Facebook, the app for Facebook, you give them permission to access your camera and your microphone at any time. They can just do it.
Well, yeah, but when you say it like that, it's sinister, but you
Yeah,
actually
obviously they're
have to
using the
grant,
data.
well, you
They're using the
actually have
data
to
for
grant them
targeted
that
ads.
permission so you could take a picture on Facebook and upload it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Like you have to like but the permission doesn't like specify for those occurrences.
right.
It's like just generalized
It's generalized to that. Yeah.
and in theory, like obviously that's what they're going to use it for. I doubt Facebook cares what I'm doing in the middle of the night, you know what I'm saying?
Right. But in
And
theory,
and And also, I also feel like they probably use like keywords that you say to target ads, like when you're talking to friends and stuff like that. Like,
Right.
I don't think it's a coincidence. Like, if you start talking about, like, if I start talking, like, we brought up cock rings, I'm probably going to see that as a Facebook ad later on from AliExpress or something. You know what I mean?
That's the
Like,
hook, man.
that's just the truth. Like, I feel like that's part of what they use it for. But it is crazy that we just so willingly sign up for that without ever reading what it pertains to.
Yeah, and it's freaky. I mean, again, I guess it really doesn't matter if you're not doing anything bad, but the fact that this is with you at all times and could potentially be recording, something, and then all of a sudden 5 years from now, you're in court, and then all of a sudden something pops up of a recording from you, and it's something that they got from your fucking phone without your knowledge. Like, there it's just it doesn't seem like we planned for everything that this is like
Yeah, well,
all
it's
the
capable of.
data that people have of ours and what they can do with it. Like, it wasn't thought about, and we're certainly not thinking about it still. Like, because if I really did think about it, I would have no devices in my house and fucking be living like Nell in a fucking woods somewhere.
Dude, you're not kidding. And you know the thing is too, is there are people that were paranoid about using like the face unlock and the fingerprinting and stuff like that. But the truth is they already have that. There's no sense in being scared of it. As soon as you buy a phone, they have so much of your information immediately, as soon as you purchase the phone itself.
Well, the Face ID they did, but the biometrics on the finger they didn't, unless you were in the system.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of people do that just when they like apply for like a state job. And there's some jobs where, like me, I had to be fingerprinted immediately just to get my license. Like to sell insurance, I had to get fingerprints. And
Right.
I had to be
Yeah.
fingerprinted a long time ago when I
Right.
worked
But
in a
if you're
kitchen.
if you're a person who avoids stuff like that because of that, you know, but a cell phone, you kind of they kind of make you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But there's so many occurrences where you might have to be fingerprinted. Nowadays, it's hard to avoid that and still live your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you could avoid it pretty easily.
Not if you like if you have certain jobs that you have to get.
Not a certain job, right? But I mean, those people trying to avoid those things usually don't take those jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's avoidable.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Don't take the job. It's like there's people who want to stay off the grid and like use like a generator or fucking fire for
That's true.
heat.
And
Like,
it's crazy that they're making more of that off the grid stuff illegal, like to where you pretty much can't do it. You know?
illegal.
hmm Like in Florida right now, it's illegal to collect rainwater.
Why?
Your guess is as good as mine.
How
The
could
only
they
thing
make
that
that
like
illegal?
you have conspiracy theorists that say they're trying to make the living off the
Are you
land thing
sure
illegal.
this isn't a conspiracy theory?
No, you can literally look it up. It is legal to collect rainwater in Florida. That is a law. But a lot of conspiracy theorists think that it's to increase the dependency on the system itself, so that way you can't go without them, right? So, like you can't have your water without them, you can't have your food without them, you can't go without their electricity. Like, because
Right.
there's certain places right now where you can't go completely off the grid for your electricity. You have to be connected to the power grid, even if you do solar. It just reduces your cost, but you still have to be connected.
Well, that's all solar except for Tesla. They're the only ones that put it in a battery and let you go off the grid.
Yeah,
You solar on your roof goes into a Tesla battery pack and doesn't go back into the energy grid, and you're completely self-sufficient.
yeah, and you can cut off from the grid completely. You can even have
Yeah.
them come out and cut your pole off.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's certain areas where that's illegal to actually
I wonder
to
why.
completely cut off, to go off grid.
Yeah, I wonder why that's illegal.
That's a good question. You know, I did hear though recently, in California, there's an issue with the electric cars that people keep using the electric cars so much and recharging them, and
Mhm.
their power grids aren't set up to be able to handle it. So they're telling people not to charge their cars. Otherwise, there's going to be rolling blackouts to happen in California.
I I guess. I mean, I don't think it costs like I think it's cheaper to run an or less energy to run an air conditioner than it is to charge your car.
I don't
Like
know. I don't know what the
central
numbers are
air.
on that.
Think if
That's
I
just
think
something that was
well,
on
I'm sure
TikTok.
it could be for sure. If if they're set up for 100 houses with no car charging, and then 50 of them have charging, maybe that extra power could, something like that.
How do the Tesla? Do you know how the Tesla charging stations work? Like, are they connected to the grid, or are they like they get it from solar power? And
Yeah, no, they're connected to the grid. For sure. I mean, they definitely provide a lot of stuff to the grid because they have like solar fields and stuff like that. But those charging stations get power from wherever the town's getting them from.
so, I mean, I guess in theory, like it could cause issues if the grid wasn't like made to handle the
Yeah, I'm
power
just
output
saying
from
it's not like like you got kilowatts per hour is I think how they measure it. I don't think it's that
it.
crazy to charge. I could be wrong, but you know, I'm not
Mm,
sure.
I don't know. It's just something I heard, and I could see if it did end up taking a lot of power to essentially run those charging stations for people to charge their cars and stuff like that. I mean, when everything happened with the gas prices, especially in California, I bet a lot of people try to choose the electric option
Oh
versus
yeah.
like using gas because the gas in California is crazy. So I could imagine if because this technology wasn't around when those grids were made, so I can
Right.
imagine them not being adapted to that. You know what I mean?
I could see that too, but I also think that I could be wrong again, but I think that when they're building stuff like that, they anticipate, the needs of the future. Maybe
That's
not
too
though. I
much
mean,
faith in your fellow man, my guy.
yeah, too much
look at
thought of people planning and
look at the people that made the dams and and what was it in New Orleans? You know,
what happened there.
the reason why New Orleans flooded like it did was because they
You mean Nolans?
yeah, New Orleans.
No.
The reason why New Orleans flooded like it did was because the dams were built for a Category 3 hurricane, and Katrina wasn't a Category 3 hurricane;
It was
it was
category.
Category 5. Yeah, that's something that for far ahead thinking right there.
Hey,
They anticipated it.
yeah.
They just didn't anticipate it to be that strong.
Well, that was like the Twin Towers. They were like made to withstand a 727 flying into them, but not a 747.
A little
You
bit
know?
outside of the parameters, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Crazy. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are going to cut it short and say goodbye. Thank you if you listened. If you didn't, you're an asshole. Um, let me know. Write in if you have some topics you want us to talk about, like circus monkeys that bang lesbians and stuff like that.
Well, let's not end the show on that note. Let's talk about that.
We will be here every Thursday between anytime after 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, anytime after 8 o'clock at night. Just be prepared for us to come on and come in your face, come in your mouth, and just come on your channel and into your
So
ear.
charming.
Yeah, so every Thursday at starting at some time, we'll let you know the day of. Josh, you want to let them know where they could find you on OnlyFans?
Listen, you can check us out on Facebook on Refer Madness. Definitely like and follow the channel so that way you can get more of these updates, and check us out on YouTube as well at Refer Madness Live. And thank you guys for watching.
Yes,
Come and join
thank
us
you
again.
guys. Thank you, Josh. We will have I will have everything set up by next week. So the YouTube page, all that stuff. And we will be coming to you live every week from the same spot. So if there's anybody who's listening consistently, you could catch us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it real. And if I